Faria, तुम ready हो ना? After 4-5 minutes, we are going to. हुसैन साहब, इन केस अगर कोई स्पीकर नहीं आता है और हमें ऑनलाइन नहीं दिखता है दैट टाइम, तो आई विल कीप यू टेक्सटिंग कि आप नेक्स्ट स्पीकर के ऊपर स्विच कर जाएं।
ठीक है, live now. Okay, sure. He's going to.
Can I participants available? I think we'll start on time then.
We have 2-3 minutes, yeah. So we start at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, 2 minutes.
Participants.
Still very bad. आप लगे तो लग जाएगी, आप अपना फोन वापस नहीं लगा सकते। हेलो हेलो,
Assalamu alaikum.
assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
You can hear me.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
And a warm welcome to the Honorable Chairman of the PIPFA Digital Board, Ms. Khurshid Kotwal, President of PIPFA, Mr. Muhammad Ali Latif, our esteemed speakers, Mr. Asif Ahmad, Mr. Sanjeev Katani, Mr. Junaid Faruqi, Mr. Usman Ahsan, and our panelists, Mr. Hussain Hassan Ali, and to all the participants from diverse geography who are watching us. Welcome to an exclusive webinar on safeguarding data in a connected world, Cybersecurity Insights. I am Fariha Iftihar, and I am honored to be an MOC of the webinar. Let's start the event with the recitation of Quran and national anthem. Right to the national This session is an initiative of the PIPFA Digital Board organized with the kind support of ISACA Karachi chapter. In today's digital world, cybersecurity and data privacy are more critical than ever. Cyber attacks are becoming increasingly sophisticated, and we must be equipped with the knowledge to protect our personal and organizational data. This webinar is not only an opportunity to learn, but also a space for us to share ideas and strategies. Now, it's my honor to introduce the chairperson of PIPFA Digital Board, Ms. Khurshid Kotwal. Ms. Kotwal is the Vice President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan and chairperson of Digital Assurance of Accounting Board. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Honorable President, Honorable President, Mr. Ali Latif, Vice President, Mr. Usman Ahsan, esteemed speakers, Mr. Asif Ahmad, Mr. Sanjeev Gathani, Mr. Junaid Faruqi, Mr. Hussain Ali, worthy panelists, members of PIPFA, ICAP, ICMA, Auditor General's team, ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all of you. We welcome you all to our webinar, Safeguarding Data in a Connected World, Cybersecurity Insights. This first webinar is being organized by the PIPFA Digital Board with the support of ISACA Karachi chapter. Our objective is to raise awareness and foster a culture of cybersecurity. By participating today, you've already taken a significant step towards becoming a digital security advocate. In today's world, data is the new currency. Data is created in almost every action we do in the digital world, from online banking to e-commerce to social media to cloud, and now artificial intelligence The digital ecosystem has become an integral part of our life. Whilst this transformation has brought innovation and convenience, it has also exposed us to risks that once seemed unimaginable. Companies are now under pressure to digitalize and automate, which exposes them to cyber attacks and ransomware. Businesses collect a large amount of data from various sources. Do I continue or wait?
Continue.
I mute my screen. Sorry, the lights have gone off and we're waiting for the generator, but I think we can continue. Businesses collect a large amount of sensitive data, user data to provide services. Cyber threats are now growing faster than our ability to prevent and manage them effectively. Data security and privacy are currently receiving the much needed attention. Customer information, personal records, and data collection are all examples of vital information that should be safeguarded on the website. Identity theft, phishing, and hacking are fraudulent actions that can be prevented. Security must be a top priority in an organization. I remember during my days at Unilever as the corporate finance director, we were extremely mindful in managing data of our employees, customers, suppliers, vendors, and third parties. Although there were no mandatory requirements, IT security was an important agenda. The average cost of a data breach exceeds $4.35 million, highlighting the financial burden cyber incidents can create and it can impose on an organization. This should remind us of the urgency to bolster our defenses. Did you know that in 2023 alone, there were 1,800 reported data breaches in the US, exposing more than 422 million records? A ransomware attack occurs every 11 seconds globally, costing businesses billions in downtime and recovery. While some nations have enacted comprehensive data privacy laws, Pakistan is also gearing up in the race to secure the public data. Organizations with a strong crisis management plan are 3 times more likely to recover from disruptions within a week, illustrating the effectiveness of a proactive preparation. Investing in robust cybersecurity measures like layered security, data encryption, and strict access controls is just non-negotiable. The role of an ISO is definitely an opportunity for the finance and business professionals to be trained on. During my days at Unilever, in addition to the finance role, I was also the ISO of the company. As people independent of the IT function were selected to perform such roles, I underwent various trainings. We were demonstrated how vulnerable networks can be if not secured properly. As we proceed with today's session, I encourage you to reflect on the role you play in the digital world. What steps you can take to strengthen your skill sets in the cyber security, and how you can foster a safer environment for your organization and for those around you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for participating in our event.
Thank you, Ms. Kotwal, for the briefing. Now, it's my honor to introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Muhammad Ali Latif, President of PIPFA. Mr. Latif, a seasoned leader with more than 20 years of experience in the accounting and audit profession. He will share insights on how professionals can navigate today's cyber challenges. Mr. Muhammad Ali Latif is a former president of ICAP and a fellow member of ICAP and PIPFA. He is a second-generation chartered accountant and son of a well-known practicing chartered accountant, Mr. M.T.K. Rahmani, who practiced under the name of style of Rahmani and Co. Chartered Accountants. Let's give him a warm virtual welcome.
Thank you, Priya. Respected speakers, participants, colleagues, Assalamu alaikum. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to this insightful webinar on cybersecurity and data privacy. As we gather here today, I am reminded of how rapidly our professional and personal lives have become intertwined with technology. This shift has brought unprecedented opportunities, but also significant vulnerabilities that require our urgent attention. From our smartphones to our corporate systems, the digital world is everywhere, helping us to connect, innovate, and thrive. But do remember that as we embrace this convenience and the boundless possibilities that the technology offers, we must also confront the risks that comes with it. Cybersecurity and data privacy are no longer optional. They are now an essential safeguards into this interconnected world. Just as Ms. Kotwal said, that cybersecurity is no longer only a concern limited to the IT department. It is now a boardroom discussion, a governance priority, and a core business strategy. As professionals in finance, governance, risk management, and other critical areas, we are the people who are also directly responsible for ensuring that the systems we rely on are protected from the emerging threats. Some of the data has already been shared with you by Ms. Kotwal, and the astounding one is that after every 11 seconds, a cyber attack occurs somewhere in the world. At PIPFA, we understand these challenges deeply. Our role as a professional body goes beyond just equipping accountants with technical skills. We see it our responsibility to prepare our members and professionals to tackle the realities of this modern workplace. Today's webinar reflects the vision of the Digital Board of PIPFA. We are grateful to the support of Mr. Usman. However, it is a single-handedly event organized by our lovely Ms. Khurshid Kotwal, and it is our efforts that due to this, we have started off with the digital initiative, and no doubt many other seminars will follow this one. Do remember that this seminar and this webinar is more than just an event for today. It's a step towards resilience. Through this session, we'll explore practical strategies and actionable insights to safeguard the digital assets, whether you are managing sensitive corporate data or simply securing your even personal devices. I encourage all participants to engage actively during this webinar. We'll be allowing you to ask questions, share your perspectives, and take back actionable strategies to strengthen the cybersecurity of your own organization. Once again, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the PIPFA Digital Board, the ISACA Karachi chapter, and the organizing committees for their dedication in making this webinar possible. I'm extremely grateful again to Ms. Kotwal for giving all of our PIPFA members this opportunity to learn, collaborate, and build a safer digital future together. Thank you.
Of ISACA Karachi chapter. He is a member of SCCC Standing Committee on Cyber Crimes and Security. Previously, he was Chief Information Security Officer of Bank Al Habib. He has worked across the technology governance and risk landscape, including in technology risk advisory with EY UK internal audit at AQ. Mr. Hussain is invited to introduce the esteemed speakers and panelists of the webinar. Over to you, sir.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our glittering experts today. The speakers, the first off, we have Mr. Asif Ahmed. He's the Country General Manager of IBM Pakistan, and he joins us today from Islamabad. He will be talking about global imperatives for cybersecurity and data privacy. Asif is an accomplished business leader with over 23 years of experience in the information technology industry, serving customers across multiple verticals, including but not limited to financial services, telecommunications, public, energy, and defense sectors. Skilled in managing and growing a multi-million-dollar portfolio by developing and implementing effective business strategies, organizational management systems, innovative go-to-market models, and fostering a healthy partner ecosystem to drive sustainable growth. Asif is known all across Pakistan by all the large organizations. He's a strategic thinker, a certified coach, and results-oriented leader with a passion for coaching and developing people. Asif holds a successful track record in various leadership roles, including general management, sales and distribution, business development, program and project management, and software development. We look forward to listening to him today. Next off, we have Mr. Sanjeev Gattani, founder and chief executive officer of Better Business Governance, Singapore. He joins us today from Istanbul, Turkey, and he will be talking about data privacy regulations and compliance. This is such an interesting and exciting topic. Sanjeev is an internationally certified expert in data privacy, cybersecurity, and artificial intelligence, holding credentials from prestigious institutions in the US, Europe, Singapore, Indonesia, and Canada. His extensive expertise enables him to navigate and resolve complex challenges in data protection, ethical AI implementation, and cybersecurity resilience, thereby empowering organizations globally to protect their digital assets with precision and foresight. Thank you, Sanjeev, for joining us today. Our third speaker for the day is Mr. Junaid Farooqi, cybersecurity consultant from Extransic in the UK. Today, he joins us to share his thoughts on artificial intelligence, a double-edged sword, a great perspective. Junaid is a senior leader and a public speaker on IT and cybersecurity. He has worked for various sectors such as banking, insurance, transport, health, councils, utility, and media. Currently, he has been playing a role where he can define and mold cybersecurity strategy in influencing investment and implementation of cyber technologies and processes through the provision of excellent technical consultancy, advice, and leadership. Thank you, Junaid. We will also have, with pleasure, Mr. Usman Ehsan, Vice President of PIPFA and a member of our digital board, who will share his closing remarks and key insights on today's webinar. Vice President Usman Saab is a seasoned finance professional with over 20 years of expertise in financial management, accounting, and taxation. Based in Faisalabad, he serves as the CFO at Anjum Textile Mills Private Limited, a leading textile manufacturing company. His career is marked by significant achievements and a profound understanding of the textile manufacturing sector, including spinning, weaving, and value-added processes. He is a senior chartered accountant from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan, and he continues to pursue professional development in international financial reporting standards and corporate governance. And he is actively involved with professional accounting bodies like ICAP and PIPFA, thereby advancing industry standards and nurturing future talent in finance. He is also a distinguished Toastmaster who is actively participating at club and area levels. Thank you, Usman Saab. Over to you, Fariha.
Thank you, Mr. Hussain Hassan Ali, for the introduction. Next, I am delighted to welcome Mr. Asif Ahmed, Country General Manager at IBM Pakistan. Mr. Ahmed will talk about global imperatives for cybersecurity and data privacy. His session will highlight trends, global strategies, and the importance of being proactive in addressing cyber threats. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. I hope I am audible. All right, great. So,
Yes.
first of all, my thanks to organizers, especially Ms. Kotwal and Mr. Hussain Hassan Ali, for giving me this opportunity to come and share my thoughts on imperatives of cybersecurity and data privacy. Um, well, I would ideally want to start off with a journey. Some centuries ago, we used to record data probably on a cliff or on a stone. And then eventually we evolved, we developed, we started off recording them on a piece of paper that we called accounting books and recording registers. From there, in 1950s and 60s, the whole concept of digitization came in, where data started to be more in a digital form. From there, in 2000s, we saw a great movement of automation of our processes, which has done remarkably well for so many organizations in helping them in their growth, in their strategy, in keeping their records, in learning from their past and all. And now, in today's world, we are at a very, very interesting point, position, rather, I would say, with artificial intelligence, where the decision making can also be done by these dumb machines, once called the dumb machines, can also, with especially with generative AI and other techniques, can do a wonderful job. The digital assets, that we have in, and there's no fixed number, but I used one of the generative AI tools just to see what is their analysis. And it tells me that the total worth of digital asset in today's world is over $2.5 trillion. This is the reality where we're living today, right? Besides that, if we think of digital economy, again, I got some help from one of these generative AI tools, and it tells me that the total between 15 and 20% of the global GDP is now the digital part, is basically digital economy. This is where we are standing today. With all of this transformation, bringing technology in, people like myself, who I would say were lucky enough to be taught computer sciences at the right time, we grew with this wave. And this wave is tremendous. This wave is beautiful. It's going to stay there. But while all of this growth came in, all of these opportunities open up, we are also, because our digital credentials have become so important, and at times more important than some of our physical assets, that we all are vulnerable now at individual levels, and as well as at organizational levels, as well as at country level, and also as at a global level, right? So these digital assets, these digital credentials, this digital economy needs to be safeguarded. And that is what brings me to my conversation of, the global imperatives of cybersecurity, as well as data privacy. I think Mr. Ali mentioned something very interesting when he said that, data cybersecurity or data privacy is not only IT's job. It gives me a lot of relief. Because this is the actual mindset that we need to have now. Technology, application of technology is no more only the responsibility of IT. It is actually the responsibility of everyone, because across different functions and across different industries, technology is everywhere. All of us, even if we have an IT background or we don't, we use technology, which makes us, when we get the benefits, it also puts some responsibility onto us, which are primarily around the security part of it and the data privacy. So when it comes to imperatives, I would not want to take too much time in talking about exactly how things are being done. I'll go through it quickly, fairly, because I think that any one of us who is interested in understanding how the cybersecurity framework are being designed and set up in in any organization, or for that matter, data privacy frameworks are being developed and implemented. I mean, there is a sea and ocean of knowledge available on the internet. It's a click away. You can go and find out and understand it better. But just to give you an overview of, for example, let me start off with cybersecurity, right? So when it comes to cybersecurity, we always start off by doing a risk assessment, for example. That is where the whole thing starts. Where are the risks? What are the potential threats that our digital ecosystem carries with it? And then, of course, that leads us to development of our defense or security strategy. At times, our regulatory compliances are very important. I believe most of you, not all, but I believe most of you are coming from finance and accounting background. So I'm sure you understand the importance of regulatory compliances. So many a times, and I'm seeing it growing every passing day within organizations and at the country level as well, where more and more regulations, compliances, policies are being introduced, and we all need to adhere to those. So sometimes, of course, we need to take them, but I would say not sometimes, always we need to consider what are the regulatory compliance when it comes to cybersecurity or data privacy that we need to follow and make it part of our strategy. Similarly, we need to identify the key elements that needs to be protected. All endpoints, our network, our data, everything needs to be clearly understood. Now, some of you may think that, these are very focused, very labor intensive work. And it is. And that is why we have dedicated teams. But at individual level, you all know which data is critical for you, which data needs to be protected, which data should not be shared, which data or access shall never be shared. For example, I'm sure when it comes to our individual credentials of, for example, our social media, or for that matter, our emails, we'll never share it. Same mindset needs to be applied when it is your organizational data. The same mindset, same approach needs to be adapted. Similarly, we need to define what are the rights and the privileges of each person to access a particular data. Similarly, when it comes to data, then encryption of data, protecting our data through a detailed, comprehensive data governance framework is what is required. And then, of course, continuous learning with a very comprehensive plan of when, because it's not a matter of if, rather when the security incident happens, how are you going to recover and how will you continue your business? So that's something that each one of us should think about, right? And we need to have a strategy, and we cannot only depend on one particular department or one particular team to be dependent, to be responsible for all of it. Because if it goes down, all of us are going to suffer. Similarly, when it comes to data privacy, more or less the same, but data privacy these days is gaining a lot of attention. Again, the journey part that I spoke about, the whole journey that we came through, and today's facts around digital assets, the importance of digital credentials, digital information, private personal information, these things are very important. In some of the continents, in some of the countries, you can't do business until unless you are fully compliant with their policies when it comes to data privacy or personal information. For example, in Europe, if your organization does not follow, irrespective of where your organization is based out of, if they are not fully compliant with GDPR, you cannot do business. You cannot use, process, collect data of any European citizen, right? So similarly, all other countries are also coming up with their very comprehensive data privacy policies. In Pakistan as well, our Ministry of Information Technology and Telecommunication has been working very extensively on this one. And we expect that hopefully very soon we'll have a very formal data privacy policy of Pakistan will be approved by the assembly, and hopefully should be made as part of our legal system. Anyways, I'll continue. So more or less, again, you need to start with the transparency when it comes to data privacy, because it is extremely important for each one of us. When we collect any data from anyone, we need to be very transparent in sharing how this data will be used, where this data will be used. You as organizations, your organizations, if they are collecting data, even their own employees' data, there needs to be a very transparent policy of how this data will be used, where it will be used, and when this will be destroyed, right? And you need to agree to that. I tell you something, interesting. I notice these days that when we get onto these web calls, WebEx calls, all of a sudden recording starts. This is inappropriate. You cannot, in today's world, with the laws and the policies being evolved and being implemented in many of the advanced countries, you cannot record a meeting without consent from everyone. I hope, Mr. Asif, you have the consent in case you are recording this one. So these are very basic things. Now, culture also plays a very important role. In our culture, there are sometimes we take things for granted, which in today's world, especially when it comes to your digital world, are kind of not acceptable, right? So this is the importance of data privacy, and each one of us in our organizations need to make sure that, first of all, we have data privacy policies for employees as well as for customers, as well as for our vendors. And we implement that in all honesty, because this is something which is coming up. It's a matter of months, if not weeks, before we will have very comprehensive policies in place, and all of us would need to be adhering to those if we want to survive in the business, if we want to interact with external world, if we want to even work within our country. Moving on, I think one area which is very interesting these days is cross-border data transfer and its usage. So that's also something which has come up very well, especially when it comes to cloud computing. I'm sure most of you are aware of cloud computing. And that is why, you see regulations sometimes from State Bank of Pakistan, from Pakistan Telecommunication Authority, sometimes from Security Exchange Commission, because this is a very tricky subject. And not only for us, globally, a lot of work is being done on how and what data can be shared across border, and how it needs to be stored, used, processed, and destroyed. So these are some of those interesting areas. And trust me, most of the countries on the globe and many of the organizations are following all of these basic imperatives still. And thank you, Ms. Kotwal. You mentioned about the average cost of data breach, and you mentioned 4.33 million. The unfortunate fact is that in 2024, this 4.33 million was till 2023. In 2024, it has increased by 10% to 4.8 million USDs. Since you had mentioned, Ms. Kotwal, about it, so I just thought I'll add average cost of a data breach. Now tell me, how many organizations can afford this kind of data breach cost? And for example, we may say that this data is coming mostly from the Western world, from the United States and from Europe. And I would say, okay, let's divide it by 5. Even $800,000. How many organizations in our country would even survive if they have to incur a cost of $800,000 just because their data was being breached? So these are very, while all of these organizations are trying to, implement these measures, still the number of security breaches is only increasing. The average cost of data breaches is increasing. I tell you another very interesting thing that I remember. 46% of the breaches which are happening or which happened in 2024 involved customer personal data, because that's the hottest commodity that gets sold on dark web. Breaches that involved the credentials took the longest to identify and contain, 292 days. So in easy English, it took people 292 days to identify that their credentials have been stolen and are being used. Just imagine the kind of financial impact it can take. I think Ms. Kotwal also mentioned about phishing and social engineering. Phishing was number 2. I think it was 260 days or something. And social engineering was also good, over 250 days before they can identify and then contain any such attack. So these are the challenges. We know the imperatives, we know the measures, we've been working a lot on it. We are, we are coming up with the right policies, we are enforcing them, we're using technology, but things are still very tricky and getting worse every day. So it also opens up some opportunities for us, right? So I follow this great report by IBM organization, which is cost of data breach. They publish it every year for 2024. It's also published. I would recommend all of you to please have a look at it. It's a brilliant report which can give you a lot of good insight. But that same report says that 2.2 million USD can be saved by organizations which are using artificial intelligence and automation for their security. So there's a hope. There are upcoming technologies which can really help us with that. And AI, if I separate it from security, I would say all of us, irrespective of which area, which function, which industry we work in, we need to embrace AI now. It's a reality and it's an extremely strong technology. I think many of us in the IT industry could not imagine 2-3 years back that this technology can be so strong and so impressive and so effective. So in security as well, artificial intelligence, and I believe one of our subsequent speaker will also talk about it. So I will not go too deep dive into it, but yes, it is a double-edged sword. It has its own challenges as well. But we need to introduce artificial intelligence in our security strategy. AI systems can, the organizations with AI can automate threat detection, prevention, remediation to better combat cybersecurity and data breaches. It is a sort of a fact, right? Again, another interesting number that cost of data breach report by IBM shows is that with extensive security AI and automation identified and contain data and can contain data breaches to 108 days faster on average than organization without the AI tool. So on one side, usage of artificial intelligence can actually improve and make you more secure and safe on the other side, and lower your cost of recovery. And on the other side, it also reduces the time through which you can identify and contain a data breach. So I'm sorry, I'm very of my time. Last message that I would want to leave with all of you is around the quantum computing. On one side, these technologies are bringing a lot of good in our lives for organizations, for countries, for humanity. On the other side, they also have certain challenges. Quantum computing is on the horizon, right? It's coming, it's real. The commercialization is starting. While quantum computing, it holds the potential to revolutionize industries by solving very, very complex problems which we could not solve with classical computers in today's world. It also presents significant risk to current, cryptographic algorithms, particularly that are used for encrypting data, because these machines will be so strong, so smart that they can decrypt things in a much quicker way. So you need to be also very of the quantum computing and its potential challenges on the security if it gets into wrong hands. And you need to prepare. I mean, I'm very proud to tell you that IBM is one of the organizations, one of very few, I would say, our infrastructure is quantum safe, because we also work on quantum computing in a big way, and we've been pioneers in the quantum computing. So our new infrastructure is, we are making sure that it's quantum safe, and you can look into the details into that. So with that, I would want to, close my keynote. I would recommend all of you to also please look into IBM's set of products around data security, protection, security automation, security in terms of access and identity management. We have a very comprehensive portfolio when it comes to when it comes to security. And, we have a very decent install base when it comes to Pakistan, a very, very decent install base. Major enterprises are using our technology and our consulting. We'll be very happy to to assist if any one of you need help. So with that, thank you very much for your patience. And over to you, Faria.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmed, for such a compelling session. For our next session, I am thrilled to welcome Mr. Junaid Farooqi, Cybersecurity Consultant from Forensic UK. Mr. Farooqi will discuss how AI is shaping the future of cybersecurity. Over to you, sir.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm trying to bring that artificial intelligence, what we are seeing working in the UK for the last 20 years. And AI is quite a big buzzword. Let me just share my presentation quickly. Can you all see that on the screen? Can you see the presentation on the screen?
No.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Okay, so the title I chose is a reason that I work in the cybersecurity space within the financial sector mostly these days. And artificial intelligence is like a buzzword. All the business leader wants to use it. Currently, I'm working in the insurance sector, and there are underwriters, there are claims, and all these different business processes which they want artificial intelligence to be used. Now, as Mr. Asu just pointed out, data is the key. And what we do with artificial intelligence is to build those the models, the large language models or the small language models, and then the machine learning starts happening to do some kind of output. So let me just go back to where the AI term is coming from. So this is not something new. This was always there. In fact, in 1949, Alan Turing wrote a paper, and it's called Turing test as well. But it was coined. This term was coined back in 1956 by John McCarthy. And I just thought I'll just put the definition out there, what exactly it means. Why it's becoming so relevant now? Because we have we got data storage location which is much better. Computing power is much better. So we can utilize that data in a language model and then make some decisions on it. But the idea of artificial intelligence is very old and it's being worked around. It's just getting into fruition because we got much more computing power and much more better data management storage as well. So I thought I'll just go back. And as I'm a technical person, mostly I'm fascinated by all these historical facts and how we came up to this point. Also, I thought I'll just mention about what exactly the types of AI are. Some of you are interested in the artificial intelligence and how to look into. The initial part is like Alexa and your Sophia, and also you when you do some search on the Google and the Google start predicting what exactly you are searching. That's kind of AI. It is like a narrow intelligence. It's like an artificial weak AI, we call it. Even the self-driving cars comes into that intelligence. Then we have another level of artificial intelligence, AI, which is more like a strong AI, which can still not think. And when I say cannot think or reason, is like if I'm sitting in a very cold place and if I ask a robot to go and put the fan on, it will just follow my instructions and use that instruction to go and activate the fan. It will not think, it will not reason that it's cold weather. It will not ask me the question back that it's cold and I should not be, activating the fan. So that type of AI is still not there, and it will be it's predicted like we can be there by 2040. And as Mr. Asif was pointing out about quantum computing, that might help in getting there. But that reasoning and that thinking part within the AI models are still not there. But we have gone to like intelligent tasks like human can, a lot of tasks can be performed through the AI quickly. And third is like artificial super intelligence, as I said, that's not there. That's just in the movies. That's still hypothetical. So we are not there as yet, but probably we'll get there somewhere around 2040. That's the forecast a lot of scientists are making. So when I work with the organizations here, I look into a lot of regulatory requirements, and these are some of the international regulation we look into and the frameworks. I just thought I'll put that in as we just thought. I was listening about Pakistan is also preparing one of its privacy and other bills as well coming through. as we all operate now in a global world, you're in Pakistan or wherever, if you are doing a business with any global entity, any global country, you have to look into their regulations. And these are some of the regulation, international EU. I'm in UK and we're working on this intelligence regulation bill. Just put a link there as well if some of you are interested. NIST framework with ISO 27001 is catching up on it, but this already being published by NIST, AI 601, which gives you some idea on how to practice once the AI is implemented, how to manage that from a security perspective, that because the data is the key, data is your crown jewels, how you ensure that nothing is breached from there. So these are some of the ones. There are Algorithm Accountability Act as well proposed, and it is again in terms of the AI, it's very relevant. UAE, Brazil, Germany, Canada, all of them has got something to do with the AI now, and they are putting the bills out. Even UAE have put an AI ethics guideline on how to implement that. So this is what's happening in the world, and we're looking at it since we are working globally. I'm in a company these days looking at global parts. So I thought I'll just put all these out there. If any of you are interested, you can Google it and search it and take advantage. Some of the business use cases I see, and I just put out some of the normal ones like users do. As I just mentioned, you are searching on a Google and start predicting what you're typing. That's just a very normal use case. But there are chatbots. Also in the banking world, we are seeing AI, artificial intelligence is used for anti-money laundering, know your processes, payment risk, delinquency, credit frauds. They are using the AI technology, building the models around that one. Machine learning is happening, and some of the companies are offering really good solutions there. Chatbot, personalized marketing content. So all these business use cases, when we see it, we see the downside of what can happen to the data. What can happen if this information goes into the wrong hand, or if we are searching, or if we are inquiring into the models which are outside the company domain, or we don't control them. So all those use cases goes out, and then we think about from a security lens and see what can happen. But I thought I'll just put some of them out there from a corporate world. Maybe you can relate some of them. And some of these are like driving cars, Netflix even, it does the personalized movie recommendation. So behind that, there is an AI engine which is running. And pretty much they say 85% of the movies you watch is definitely recommended by Netflix. You don't search it. You normally get the idea from the Netflix and it just present that to you. So all this behind the scene, the AI engines are working and presenting this to you. So as I just mentioned, when you look at the AI from a security lens, we have to look at these risks from a security perspective. These are some of the risks when we look into, and I thought I'll just put some description there as well. Like if any one of you are interested in technical details around attacks from adversaries, like evasion attacks, we get poisoning attacks, model extractions. So model extraction is quite interesting. Curing AI model and then taking out the data from there and reaching it from there. Weaponized AI models. There are GPTs, like you have OpenAI, ChatGPT, you got Copilot. These type of generative models are coming out just for the adversaries to use and generate malwares and you misuse it in that way. Again, social engineering techniques have gone to the roof now. We used to see phishing emails and deepfakes type of attacks, especially the phishing emails. We've always had some kind of spelling mistakes or had some issues with that. But now it's coming out really crystal, again, the phishing attacks are very sophisticated now using the AI models. If not complete generative AI, at least the text-based AIs. And you can make it, really nice phishing emails through Copilot, and they're free tools mostly. Model denial of service. Again, there are sponge type attacks we see in conceptually expensive process causing delays. So you attack your models in a way that it starts slowing down and the result starts coming very slowly. So these type of denial of service attacks are happening on the models which you're building, like example ChatGPT, or the models for, let's say I'm doing some modeling work at my underwriting in insurance or KYC process. Those models which are built around that, we see that they're slowing down because of the malware. There is integrity issue and the confidentiality issue. There's always an unauthorized access which can happen into these different AI generated models. And that if that happens, you have some data breaches in hand. Because again, you need to understand that the language models are containing data not in the code, but in the normal language which you and I speak in English or whatever the language is. So it's easier to do that breaches now rather than putting the code in. Data manipulation, again, the integrity problems can happen as well, that it will present you something which is not correct. So accuracy could be an issue as well if the data is, if the data integrity challenge comes in. Sorry, I thought I was doing the slides, but I think the slides were not coming through. Was it coming through? Can you see my slides or?
We can.
Apologies, I think I missed the part of switching the slides. Apologies. So can you see it now? The AI mitigation strategy.
Yes, we can.
Yes, sir, we can.
Yes, we can.
So apologies if you have missed the other slides. It's all there. If the participant needs, all these are there. If somebody needs it, I'll put it down all in here. All the regulations and all these are here. Apologies for that if I've not clear. So some of the mitigation strategies we look into is, again, old-fashioned training for your staff who are managing the artificial intelligence model. Regular audits that's supposed to happen on your AI systems, which you're placing it in. Mostly nowadays in the cloud, but again, wherever they are, they should be audited. The logs should be checked. Access control methods, very crucial that the authorized users only are allowed and encryption is in place to protect those models. Monitoring and detection. There are tools like EDRs and other tools which are catching up. They are doing a fantastic job to monitor any anomalies which are happening on the network or on the data side of it. Code reviews and testing, there's a lot of development happen within the organization itself, especially for the data models and API-driven models. So that code needs to be checked for any type of vulnerabilities, injection. We got OWASP top 10 for last, I don't know how many years we do look into, and still the SQL injection type attack issues and the vulnerabilities come out in the code. So these are old-fashioned mitigation strategies which organizations should put in place and ensure that it's happening on regular basis. Just put this adverse impact. There are a few links as well in there. In fact, I'm not encouraging to create any biochemical weapons, but they're out there. And if you look at this YouTube, which I've just put in there, they use their model to generate some of the combination through the biochemical, and it was like 40,000 came out, which was really scary to look into how these artificial intelligence models can be used in a very wrong way. Then there are issues with data privacy, security, and financial healthcare and other sectors. All of them are having issues. Just Mr. Asif pointed out, you got GDPR. UK has got its own UK data protection 2018 since we came out of EU after the Brexit. It's pretty much exactly what GDPR says. We just copy pasted it. Some of the changes are there. We got HIPAA as well. We need to go through, and then there are SOX and other legislation. All requires that data privacy side. Ability to discover weaknesses in cybersecurity defenses. So the adversaries, the bad guys, use, again, as I call it out, double-edged sword. So it's not just us using it. All the people who got bad intention, who are doing this other side of the job, they use it to identify weaknesses and significantly misconfigurations, which can happen in any system, and take advantage of that. And AI agents, malware, and the rogue agents are thrown into the network to work for them and identify this. Sophistication of creation and distribution of malware, effective phishing emails, as I just suggested. So all these adverse impact, potential fraud associated with photos, videos, and audios with deepfake. We always have this issue with photos and videos, and now mixing it with the artificial intelligence, or just creating those sophisticated type of attacks. Better ability to uncover zero-day vulnerability. And if anybody try to understand, zero-day is the vulnerability which hasn't been identified as yet. So the systems and all these programs are made by humans. It cannot be perfect. And if you're using the artificial intelligence, you can quickly scan and can probably put the two and two together, connect all the dots together, and can identify the vulnerabilities, which is not even known by the vendor itself. And it's easier for the bad guys to do that. Data leakage from the generative API deployment itself. There's a prompt injection and jailbreak attack. So the models you create for specific type of work, like contract management and legal contract checking, which was developed by JP Morgan's, quite vastly used in UK as well. You could use these prompt injection and jailbreak type attacks into the models itself, and can generate your own data and can breach the data from there. Advanced toolkits, if anybody of you are interested, I'm not suggesting to go out and use it. There are autonomous AI agents, which we see, capable of self-directed learning. It can sit in your network and understand and send the data out to the bad guys. They can perform multiple roles in cyber attack, including reconnaissance, data exfiltration. So yeah, I cannot go and teach all this, but these are the terminologies we use in the cybersecurity world when somebody is doing footprinting and reconnaissance work at the network level. And there's a very famous black mamba polymorphic malware which was developed. What it does is it just create a malware using OpenAI to steal users' keystrokes. So it can sit in your network, and it can look into how people are putting their keystrokes. So it can easily steal the passwords, can steal all the other secret information which you are putting through your keystrokes with your keyboard. And it's created. Black Mamba is quite famous. You can search it online. I put some links there as well if you want to have any. Then there are chatbots like Worm GPT, Fraud GPT on the dark web. If anybody you heard about it, there is another secret internet running in the normal internet, which is called dark web, and you can fund and you can find the services of quite a lot of people who can hack, who can do denial of service, God knows what. There's all kind of activities you can find in the dark web, and I don't want to encourage anyone to go there. There are special ways how to access that, but just to read through, I've just put a link there just to understand how these chatbots can be bought. You can buy their services and can use them, and they exactly work like OpenAI kind, using same kind of engine, but trying to create worms and fraud techniques. Fake news using deepfakes, ChatGPT generating phishing emails. I just said you can use these ChatGPT functions just to have a very nice emails without any mistakes and everything, and it looks like a corporate email, and you can send it across and create an attack and campaign against an organization. It will look very real, might contain a link where you will be asked for ransomware and it encrypts everything or something else. So we've seen that too. Creating malware, ransomware, cracking passwords, all these are happening. Benefits to cybersecurity team. So we got different tooling we have to detect the malwares, to detect any anomalies happening in the network. So as a cybersecurity team, we use all these technologies as well. I think at the moment, if you look at all the EDR type or other SOAR type, which is security orchestration and automation response tooling, endpoint detection and response tooling, all are using the AI engines behind to ensure that we're better protected. How I see at the moment is probably bad guys are a bit ahead from us to prevent. But I think eventually the investments will happen quite a lot in all these different toolings we have, like got Q radars, we got these Splunk tooling, we got all these Tenable IOs, all these different technologies we use to detect. We will be using more and more the AI mechanism in there, and there will be more investments coming in. That's what we think here, that we will catch up now, and then we will go ahead and be better than the bad guys using the artificial intelligence for our own advantage. But at the moment, definitely the bad guys are winning. The last two slides is just to put some thought process in every one of you. This was back in 2007. We cannot predict what is coming in 2007 with all these technologies we have today, including iPhones and all these different technologies we use. You couldn't predict about these selfies and photo editing and app stores and health monitoring tools and GPS navigation. Back in 2007, these were just all not there. It was all myth, but all these different exponential growth in the technological world, we are doing all this. And with all this, we have other challenges with security, especially we are creating enormous amount of data. And with that, it's happening both in the corporate world and in our personal lives. So we couldn't predict what's coming, how much data we're doing, and especially the quantum computing around the corner and the AI mixing together both. It's an unknown world, an unknown territory we're entering into. We don't know what it will be. Definitely the future is artificial intelligence and quantum. But it's just to give some thought process in your heads and what's coming, we don't know. And from a security perspective, it's even harder to predict how we will protect ourselves. Will it be just the data we need to protect, or we need to protect our lives from this artificial intelligence exponential growth, which is already happening? So this just slide, I just thought I'll put it there just to churn the brains and start thinking about what's coming and what the world will be in 10 to 15 years time. What technologies we will be using in our day-to-day life and in our corporate world, and what challenges we can face. It's quite unknown. We have some cars which are self-driving car. We got some AI models, there are robots out there, but the kind of thing which can happen in our own lives, which can enter into our own lives and into our world and in our environments, in the working environment, it's just unknown. Don't know. So it's a bit scary as well sometimes. Same slide. I thought I'll just put all these different technologies we use: smartphones, artificial intelligence, content streaming, SaaS. And with the security, looking at from that side is just a bit, don't know what will be out there in 10 years time, what exciting things will come out and how vulnerable we would be with those technologies coming in. Because we all know with IoTs and SaaS applications and internet and video conferencing, even the artificial intelligence, what sort of security problems and security headaches it will bring, what the risk it came with. We don't know at that time. It was all good, really fancy things. So the future would be exciting, but at the same time, I believe it's vulnerable as well going through. That's my presentation. There is any question?
For that insightful presentation. Now let's delve into the regularity side of things. Please welcome Mr. Sanjeev Gadani, CEO of Better Business Governance. Mr. Gadani will guide us through data privacy regulations and compliance, focusing on key frameworks and best practices. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, everyone, for the opportunity to speak. Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Okay, so can I have the slides, please? Thank you. Okay, so let me just start off. I mean, you all have heard from the two esteemed speakers before me, right? And I think they have really summed up everything that we need to know about data privacy. But what I want to share with you all is a very simple thing. When we talk about data privacy regulations, it's not a rocket science. And I think a lot of people make it a rocket science, right? Which is not. So if you look at this slide that is being shown, you can see categories of personal information, right? So when we talk about categories of personal information, this is called personal data, right? And if you look at all regulations in the world, they talk about personal data or personal identifiable information. So this infographic, right, ladies and gentlemen, just gives you an overview of the type of personal data that is there, right? You got internal, external, historical, financial, social, right? And today, as both my previous speakers have mentioned, data is everywhere. There is so much of data that we don't even know what is out there. So it's very important to understand that when we are talking about data protection or privacy, we are only talking about personal data and personal identifiable information. So this infographic just highlights to you some of the aspects and has put the human at the center, right? And one has to remember data protection laws differ from country to country, right? And there are also sectorial laws in certain countries. Now, we have got the world divided between Africa, one continent, Americas, Europe, Asia, and the Gulf region, which includes Pakistan as well, okay, part of it. So if you look at all the regulations, predominantly they are the same, but there are subtle differences. So when we talk about data privacy, the gold standard is of course GDPR, which is the General Data Protection Regulation. Now that is a mind-blowing regulation which has got well over 90 recitals. Now nobody can remember all those things, neither can I. So I'm going to, in the next 2 slides, give you a very simplistic model to understand data protection regulations or privacy. Okay, so when we talk about data protection regulations, it's very important to understand this slide here that you can see. At the center of it, it says collect, use, disclose, and store. The 11 steps to handling personal data. So remember, it's CUDS. Every organization needs to know what data it collects, how it uses the data, how it discloses the data, and how it stores. It's not rocket science. And after you identify this, then you need to assess. That's A. P, protect. R, respond. S, sustain. The risk in relation to collection, use, dispose, disclose, and store. So again, it's not rocket science, it's just putting things down simply. Okay. And when we talk about data protection regulations, right, we must only collect for the purpose for which we need it so. Do not unnecessarily collect things, because the more you collect, the more nightmare you will have, right? And one thing you got to remember, ladies and gentlemen, that European data protection laws are very different, in the sense that in Europe, you have the right to be forgotten. In Europe, you can take action against the government for mishandling your personal data. In any other country, you can't do that. And there is no such thing as the right to be forgotten. The right to be forgotten means if you have done something wrong, you want it wiped out. It doesn't work in other countries. In Europe, it does. Okay. So here you can see there are several points, right? In total, 11. So I'm not going to go through one by one, but I want to stress, only collect the data that you need for the purpose for which you need it, and only use it for that and nothing else. Ensure that you get the consent. Again, in Europe, there is no concept of implied consent. It's explicit consent. You cannot say that this person told me verbally. Where is it written, that consent? You need to make sure that whatever data you collect is complete and accurate. If it's not, you need to give people the opportunity to access and correct it, right? And then, like I said, do not keep everything till the cows come home. You need to have a clear retention policy. and only keep data if there is a valid business or legal reason to do so. Okay, if not, don't keep it. When you are transferring data overseas or using the cloud, ensure that you know where the data is resident. Do not just transfer the data blindly without knowing where is the actual data residency. When you talk about cloud, and my two previous esteemed speakers have spoken about it, do understand what is the cloud, where is the data. Ensure that you do the relevant vulnerability and pen testing as well. Okay, managing data breaches, very important, and handling complaints. Again, most data protection laws in Asia are complaint driven. If no one complains, nobody cares. The day somebody complains, everybody cares, right? And data portability is another very big thing, where never move data out of your country without informing the data subject. Okay, so that's in summary the 11 steps to handling personal data. Next slide, please. Okay, thank you. 10 more steps to ensuring security of personal data. And all of you would be familiar with the triage CIA: confidentiality, integrity, accessibility. Now, again, this is a very important concept, and again, not rocket science. Only give access to people who need it for them to do their job. If not, do not give them the access. It's on a job duties and responsibilities and nothing more, right? Ensure that you have proper technical, administrative, and physical securities when you're talking about protecting the data. Okay, do not take it for granted. And in this, I would say the key thing is education and awareness. Make sure that people are educated, they are aware, they know exactly what to do. And if you allow work from home or bring your own devices, right, be very, very careful, because your risk will be totally different, right? Always maintain confidentiality, integrity, and accessibility. Lastly, I would like to say, in life, any problem that you have boils down to two things. One is PPT, and the other one is the 5W and 1H. So let's talk about PPT. PPT is not PowerPoint, ladies and gentlemen. PPT is people, process, technology. All problems stem from people. People will not follow the process, and then they will look at the technology, hoping that the technology will solve their problems. We are not to be a slave to the technology. Technology is an enabler to help us to increase our efficiency and effectiveness. The 5 Ws and the 1H. This is my favorite tagline. It's also on my LinkedIn. Basically, it's the what, where, why, who, when, and how questions. These are fundamental questions that need to be asked whenever we talk about anything, whether it's data protection, data security, or any other thing. So nothing is rocket science. Keep things simple and sweet. Thank you. Over to the
Thank you, Mr. Gadani,
MC
for
of
the
today.
information. Now, we move to an engaging panel discussion moderated by Mr. Hussain Hassan Ali, member of PIPFA Digital Board and president of ISACA Karachi chapter. This panel will explore cybersecurity challenges, case studies, and the way forward. Mr. Hussain Hassan Ali will introduce our esteemed panelists. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Faria. It is my privilege to moderate this panel today, and we have a number of great experts. Our panel discussion today is cybersecurity challenges, case studies, and the way forward. And our panelists are known to everyone, so I'll just go into that. But they have joined us to share their thoughts and insights on addressing the requirements for ever increasing cybersecurity and data privacy requirements at this time of evolving threats to organizations, but also to customers and their data. And we've seen the speakers talk about this. First off, we have Ms. Zainab Hamid. She's the CEO of Strategy Consulting and Director of ISACA Karachi chapter. Zainab is the startup founder of T-Square, established to develop scalable edtech platforms for quality primary education for all. Very, very inspirational topic. Presently, she is also the CEO and principal consultant of Strategy Consulting, and she is passionate about working with businesses to strengthen IT governance through interventions at BOD, the board of directors, and senior management levels. Zainab is an advocate for women in leadership and workplace gender diversity, and she leads ISACA Karachi chapter's She Leads Tech initiative as a director on the board. She is also the president of the Pakistan affiliate of VICES, a global initiative to support women in cybersecurity. And I will request her to talk about that a bit when she comes on. Next, we have Mr. Naushad Siddiqui, a Deputy General Manager and Head of Technology Audit at Sui Southern Gas Company. And he's also a director on the ISACA Karachi chapter. Naushad is a seasoned assurance, governance, risk and IT professional with over 25 years of diverse international and local industry experience. Actually, right now he's sitting in Riyadh. His expertise encompasses enterprise application development, IT project management, information systems audit, risk management, IT governance, BCP, DRP, incident management, policy and SOP development, and ISO standards implementation. We need all of that. He possesses extensive knowledge and hands-on experience with international standards and frameworks, and he's also an ISACA APMG accredited international trainer. Then we have Mohammad Azam Mughal, CEO of Secure Beans. As a seasoned cybersecurity leader, Azam Bhai helps organizations navigate the complex landscape of cyber threats. His role enables him to provide cutting-edge security solutions and services. He's been doing this for a long, long time, I must say. His past experience as a board member of Pasha has given him a deep understanding of the industry's challenges and opportunities. He is passionate about fostering a culture of security awareness and empowering organizations to build resilient cyber defenses. And don't we need them all? Azam Bhai possesses internationally renowned IT security, risk and compliance certifications, and he has hands-on experience in data classification, digital forensics investigation, penetration testing projects, and training, especially in the financial sector. And finally, we have Mr. Samar Ahmed, Director IT at Pakistan Audit and Accounts Academy. Samar Bhai is a seasoned professional with extensive expertise in financial auditing, information systems auditing, and training, and he holds multiple prestigious certifications, including CIA, CISA, and CISM. And he is a Master of Public Policy from Japan. With over a decade of experience, he has served in leadership roles such as Director IT at Pakistan Audit and Accounts Academy and Director Audit at Pakistan Railways. Known for his contributions to SAP ERP systems and training initiatives, he has trained over 400 officers in advanced accounting practices. His international experience includes auditing foreign missions and SARC entities, with several publications on corruption, auditing, and environmental governance. So as you can see, we have a very well-rounded and experienced panel. And let's see what's happening around the globe. Recently, we have seen a number of cyber attacks taking place globally, and there is a lot of confusion about the scale, the impact, and what is the magnitude and type of protection that is required. If we look at the latest high-profile attack on Deloitte UK, this illustrates it very well. It was reported on 4th December that the ransomware group BrainCypher claimed it had infiltrated Deloitte systems and exfiltrated 1 terabyte of client data. However, Deloitte UK has maintained that the allegations are limited to a single client's external system and do not involve Deloitte's network, and that no Deloitte systems were impacted. But regardless of the confusion, it is clear that the threat is very real. Unfortunately, we have also seen attacks closer to home. For the last few years, Pakistan and our organizations have been on the radar of hackers, and we heard some of that earlier today. Let's explore this important topic with the help of our expert panelists. So Azam bhai, let me start off with you, because you are the closest.
Yeah.
What are some of the major cyber attacks that have taken place globally? And in Pakistan's context, which attacks have impacted organizations in Pakistan?
Thank you so much, Hussain bhai, for taking me online and giving me opportunity to discuss about the major attacks happened globally, and what is the actual impact of Pakistani cyberspace of these kind of attacks. If we before going into the detail, we must understand what kind of attacks we are talking about right now, which has a direct impact on PII information, or you can say privacy, or you can say personal data. So if we talk about the personal data breaches, I think in 2013-14, that was a start where Yahoo was compromised. And if not, I'm not mistaken about it, they say like 2.5 to 3 billion records were disclosed to hacker, or they steal the record of the Yahoo users. So moving forward in 2017, very first time we saw WannaCry ransomware, which is basically a birth of ransomware attack, and it continues until now. अभी भी आप देखते हैं कि उसके इतने वेरिएंट जो हैं वो ग्लोबली अवेलेबल हैं, और ये वेरिएंट जो हैं वो दे आर नॉट अटैकिंग इंटरनेशनल क्लाइंट्स और इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, बट वी हैव सीन मल्टीपल examples within Pakistan where this particular malware or ransomware actually attacked to different sectors of Pakistan, especially in financial sector. Why financial? Because financial sector, everyone thinks that financial sector के पास पैसा बहुत है, and if we try to hack them, people think like के यार इधर से तो कुछ ना कुछ मिल ही जाएगा. अगर हम ऑटोमोबाइल को जाके हैक करते हैं, या हम सीमेंट इंडस्ट्री को करते हैं, शुगर इंडस्ट्री को करते हैं, तो what they get at maximum? Some record of employees, some record of invoices, some record of purchase orders, and some financial transactions. But when it comes to financial sector, like as we saw in 2018, there was a complete detailed wave where different hackers actually targeted the financial system of Pakistan. तो 2018 में हमने ये नोटिस किया था कि a lot of banks and a lot of financial institutions were infected with kind of ransomware attacks. और उसमें जो है वो लोगों का पर्सनल डेटा तो जो निकलना था वो तो निकला ही, उनकी फाइनेंशियल प्रोफाइल्स और साथ ही साथ उनके बैंक अकाउंट से जो है वो पैसा भी शिफ्ट हुआ. तो दैट वाज अ मेजर हिट ऑन पाकिस्तानी फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर इन 2018. एंड वो जो सिलसिला चला कोविड से पहले, प्री कोविड, वो कोविड में भी चलता रहा, वो कोविड के बाद भी चलता रहा. स्टिल we heard about a couple of incident in financial sector. I don't want to give the names of those institutions because it's a NDA type binding. हम नहीं बता सकते, but it is happening right now. तो पाकिस्तान में हम देखते हैं, तो पाकिस्तान में जो सबसे मेजर इम्पैक्ट रहा है हमारे पास, वो रैंसमवेयर अटैक का ही रहा है. इन डिफरेंट वेरिएंट्स लोगों ने जो है वो डिफरेंट हैकर्स ने, डिफरेंट ग्रुप्स ने जो है डिफरेंट किस्म के इसके वेरिएंट्स निकाले हुए हैं. जो वेरिएंट जो है साइबर सिक्योरिटी के जो टूल्स होते हैं, जो सिक्योरिटी टूल्स हैं, उनमें मार्क हुए हैं, उनके वेरिएंट बना के जो है फिर दोबारा से जो है वो उनको लॉन्च किया जाता है और फिर उनको अटैक किया जाता है. तो आई थिंक ransomware attack is basically a nightmare for the whole globe right now. Not only for Pakistan.
Absolutely. And the intention is for us to learn. So we don't really need the specific organization, but the learning. Achha, hamari baatein, so we continue our discussion and these questions with the experts, but to the audience, please do share your questions. After this, we just complete our discussion with the panelists. I'll come to your questions and then we will have those discussions also. So we've gathered some of the questions that have been shared. Thank you very much, but please continue to do so. Ji, Naushad, you are the farthest. So if you can join us and tell us, so what's happening now, in the same area where we are seeing these attacks?
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. Can you hear me? Right. So basically, Azam Saab has mentioned a lot of incidents in globally and locally as well. I would like to just add on a couple of things on those things. Looking back to the global perspective, the trend has shifted. Let's look at the history of last 12-15 years. So the most famous attack was on the Saudi Aramco, where 30,000 computer data were wiped out with the Shamoon virus. And then the history, repeats itself, and it's continued on infrastructure level, cyber attack. Now we see a shift in the dynamics from organization to the individual as well. So again, coming back to Pakistan perspective, we cannot differentiate like a global issue does not affect us or our issue does not affect global, because it's a global village, and obviously the term we like 20 years back हम सुनते थे कि global village है, तो अब it's happening now. So coming back to Pakistan, there are certain recent incidents which impacted individual as well as the organization a lot. So Azam has mentioned that the financial sector is impacted more. In my opinion, it is yes, but the trend has shifted to the financial sector to the other sector. For example, the government sector. A lot of in recent years we have seen in Pakistan government sector has hit like FBR, K Electric. Maybe it's not now government like SECP. Today we have seen another incident and which actually created a panic in a sense that one of the banks is smiling on that, because this was a hoax. But what happened actually, people just started panicking, transferring their data, shifting their data, or shifting their funds to other banks. It actually gave an opportunity to the hacker to attack more rigorously. Another kind of attack, like we have seen one of our national database, a lot of sensitive data were or maybe compromised. But what if something which is very personal to it, like your biometric or your this kind of data, if that is compromised, it cannot be changed. Well, हम कहते हैं पासवर्ड चेंज हो कर लो यार, पासवर्ड अगर हैक हो गया तो चेंज कर लो. What will you do with your biometric? What will you do with the fingerprint? So that cannot be changed unless you go for a plastic surgery, and the whole nation cannot do this. So data security and privacy in these sectors are very important. So obviously individual as well as the organization have a lot more to work on these. So when we talk about the tools and technology and other things, we'll talk about what are important things to consider. In my opinion, global, local, international, all kind of cyber attack are impacting us, and in all many sectors. Yes.
And very, very right. These things are happening more and more. And you mentioned about today, and that was why I spoke about the Deloitte thing, because we don't know. Is it a hoax? Is it just panic being created? Because there is so much that can be leveraged. And unfortunately, it is so easy. A hacker needs to only get in once. But all of our fellow defenders, we need to defend on every front all the time. So Zainab, coming to you, what is the impact on an organization when it is subjected to a cyber attack, and how can the organization recover? So, as part of that process, what are the initial steps that they should follow for recovery?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for the opportunity. I think it's a great discussion, timely as we hear everything, something or the other happening every day. So organizations are impacted. First, they have to accept that they're impacted. पहली चीज तो ये है कि it is real, the cyber threats are real, and they are impacted. Multiple dimensions से impact है, एक dimension से impact नहीं होता to the organizations. Organizations are impacted financially. Azam and Naushad both have explained the different ways they've been impacted financially, right? And these are maybe locally we don't get a lot of documentation done, but globally, whatever documentation is being done, it's impact of millions of dollars. It's not like a small some impact that an organization can recover from very easily. Financial ek jagah hai, chaliye financial we can recover somehow or the other, if we assume that. Operational disruptions. It could be like the colonial pipeline attack, and it could disrupt the operations, and it would take time and months to come back to operations. So operational impact is another financial impact. Operational impact is a lot of morale impact on the employees. If your organization is uh, attacked or ransomware or whatever kind of threat actually materializes, then it is the operations also that may not be able you may not be able to recover to the full at times. Then there is reputational damage. Just imagine a branch where thugs go in, dacoits go in. It's the same thing, right? You would not want to put your money in that branch, or you would not want your account in that branch. So it's a reputational damage. Sometimes the financial, like Azam said, that there is sometimes the financial institutes get more flagged than not, but there is reputational damage for others also. Manufacturing, other custodians of data, like Noshad mentioned, biometric data, it cannot be changed if it is compromised. We know of some compromises, breaches that have happened in 2023-24. This is reputational damage for entities that are at a national level. So this is there is no, how do I put it? There is no very little way of safeguarding that unless you prevent it. And then there is, of course, legal and regulatory compliance. That like right now we are a little challenged on our personal data protection, but other countries are not. There is GDPR. There is the law that has come into Saudi. There is personal data protection laws. There are so many things that and sitting in Pakistan, if we are not catering to these, and if we are working with those organizations, then we also have legal and regulatory consequences for any breaches. So multifaceted impact. Recovery is also not a straightforward method, or may not be very straightforward. It will depend on the damage created. So the first thing is, like we all say, incident is as bad as your first response. So you have to be very, 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 very particular about your first response. That only happens if you have an incident response plan. You assess the damage, isolate the resources, and then you do that first incident response uh, in a timely way, in the correct way. Now correct is very subjective. How much you want to tell, how much you want to hide. So and what is the first thing that you want to shut down? What is the first thing that you want to protect? So that this all happens if you have that plan. If you do not have that plan, I don't think anybody can really manage it at on the spur of the moment, especially at an organization level. Then of course, once you've done your incident response plan, there has to be a plan to restore your operations. You can't keep on a shutdown, right? There is to be containment, eradication, recovery, and post-incident activities to come back into operations. And I believe in this scenario, the most important is what you're communicating to your stakeholders, depending on the organization. You see, like these things, if they come from informal channels, there is more chance of incorrect information being spread, rumors being spread. It is very important, and there is a whole role of PR in this on how you will communicate to which stakeholder, what will be told, when will it be told. So there has to be a whole communication plan. So there is a recovery there is of course a recovery to everything. So there is a recovery to cyber incidents, but then again, one has to be very meticulous in its execution. And of course, after everything is done, organizations should make sure they review and improve their security. एक दफा हर एक माफ कर देता है, like one says, like, let's not make it happen again, right? So you have to work on the improvement of your security controls.
Very true. Very true. Need to learn lessons. Very important. So Samar, if we can have you now.
Yes.
Because you are covering the government side and you're covering so many organizations in that space. They're extremely important. How is cyber attack viewed over there in government organizations? We see all of the activity that starts to happen around the 14th and 15th of August, right? So every year these things start to happen on those days, but there's a lot more at stake. So could you please help us?
Yes, sir. Sir, I want to add one thing. Madam Zainab actually explained, actually gave the comprehensive answer of this question, but I want to add the what is happening at the government side. In government side, for example, in all the district account offices, in AG offices, in AGPR, there is a system, ERP system, SAP. And we never go for the cyber security, you can say. The whole game is revolving around the information security. And, all the frauds happened in the last 10 years are related to social engineering attack. The officers, they actually, the senior officers, most of them, they could not use how to use this system. So they share their password to the lower staff. Lower staff mean contingent paid staff. All the frauds in, for example, district account office, Bhavan Nagar, and recent fraud happened in Shekhupura, more than 16 billion, you can say. So all such actually the fraud related to access control. They gave their password. 1% is having the password of all these persons. So no segregation of duty. So confident. You can say authorization कोई और करे, reporting कोई और करे, और custody कहीं और हो, वो वाली नहीं. यानी all these things should be segregated. And one more example. 4 years back, I was doing the audit of sale tax return automation system of FBR. I raised an audit observation that there was no information security officer there. Such a huge organization and no chief information security officer was there. They were managing the security, cyber security on ad hoc basis. Sir, ये 2 लड़के रखे होंगे हमने, ये 2 हैं, ये बस ये करते हैं. And after a few months, you must have read in newspapers that the record of millions of people have been stolen and put in the dark web. So this is the thing in government sector. And so, but I want to add one thing regarding containment. Identify and then isolate and then disconnect the system in which cyber attack is going on. So this is the main thing. And then, we see that how to restore it, restoration from the last backup. And then we raise the level of antivirus level of antivirus and then firewall. And after all these things, as mentioned, Madam also mentioned, we will work on the long-term policies of cyber security. So this is from my side.
No, you've raised some very, very, very important points. See, Kevin Mitnick said there is no antidote for stupidity, for human stupidity. And you know, that is where the person, they're sharing their passwords and defeating the whole segregation.
गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर में सॉरी सर, गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर में मशीनें बाद में आती हैं, ये सारा कुछ ही हमारा ह्यूमन साइड पर है, यानी कि शेयर करते हैं लोग, और फिर वो कुछ लोग जेलों में गए, कुछ जेलों में मारे गए, और जो असल जिम्मेदार थे उनको किसी ने कुछ नहीं कहा, जो नीचे वाले थे उनको पकड़ लिया। ऐसे है, यानी कि हमारा यानी मशीनें तो अभी आएंगी, जो आप बातें कर रहे हैं ये तो बात की बात है, यानी हम उसको फायरवॉल लगाएं, अच्छा कोई एंटीवायरस लगाएं, आईडीएस आईपीएस, ये बात की बातें, पहले हमने खुद ही अपना सारा कुछ दे देना, और इसकी तरफ किसी का कोई ध्यान नहीं।
Absolutely, absolutely. So we need to build the human firewall first.
Yes.
In
Training
some
for-
form,
Yes,
the
awareness.
weakest link. Achha, so moving on, Naushad, if you could help us with monitoring and timely incident response. These are critical, absolutely critical. So what are the IT tools that are available to monitor cyber attacks? And how costly is it to recover from a cyber attack? Plus, you could also be covering about AI, because we've been hearing so much buzz. Even today, we heard about AI in cybersecurity. So what are the vital points to be careful about when using AI for cybersecurity?
3 questions at a time.
So yes, lots of question in one question. So this is called a comprehensive, assessment. So before talking about the tools and technologies and the, how and what controls to be implemented, in my opinion, tools are not sufficient and not alone will protect you or your organization. What to protect, where to protect, when to protect, and how to protect is basically the most important consideration an organization should do, and this is what the basis of the governance. So, in my opinion, before considering of a tools and monitoring technologies and other things, we need to have a proper governance structure. And what is this? This is basically आपने स्टॉक लगा लिया, फाइन, ठीक है, कौन करेगा, कौन देखेगा, व्हाट टू कवर, हाउ टू मॉनिटर, व्हेन टू रिपोर्ट, वेयर टू रिपोर्ट, ये बेसिक चीजें मिसिंग होती हैं. एंड बिफोर दैट देयर इज एन इम्पॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट व्हिच नॉर्मली people miss it, is basically the risk assessment. So what level of protection is required and what areas or what assets are required to be protected need to be properly assessed based on the risk assessment. So once you have done your risk assessment and then what information assets or the data to be protected against whom, then you can have these kind of technologies implemented. So in my opinion, the first is the risk assessment and then a proper governance structure. Then comes the technologies and other things. So for example, you have like a proper SOC monitoring system available, whether it's the in-house or a managed services or other tool like SOAR or IPS, IDS or firewall. These will come as a part of the overall cybersecurity architecture. So after this, you need to have a proper governance structure, and then you need to have proper cybersecurity framework, which should be like any standard, like NIST CSF, a very beautifully defined framework, which is now 6 domains. So comparing this to the previous version, the 6th domain that has been added is governance. So beside the 5, which is the identification, protection, other responses, the govern is the basic core of the nucleus of this whole architecture. So once you have defined all these things, then proper perform the risk assessment, then you can implement these different technologies. Coming to the obviously the different technologies and different things which are available to these days are evolving and changing and very rapidly changing. And why this is happening, because of the third question which was Sensor mentioned, is the AI. So I'll come to that later on. So beside this tools and technologies and other implementation, what you need to have a proper roles and responsibility along with that awareness. So individual as well as the teams and different groups need to be properly trained how to use those things and how those can be made more effective. Your second question was basically about the AI and how it is, or I think you mentioned something else in between. If you just repeat the second part of that, your question, so I try to address that.
How costly it is to recover, but I think even earlier Asif spoke about part of that.
So just I want to add a couple of things in the cost of the recovery. It's not the direct cost which you see the business cost or the financial loss, other thing. It's the reputation. It's a long lasting relationship with your customer, your stakeholder. These cannot be even assessed as well. So recovery cost should be included in all the things. The third you mentioned as the, sorry, you want to say something?
No, absolutely. It is important to actually recognize that it's not just the loss from the impact, but recovery part, that is also expensive, right, and all of that. So, very true. So, Azam bhai, just coming to you, because I know you've been working in this space, monitoring, recovery, forensics and all of it. So could you share some thoughts on this?
Yeah, of course. I think Naushad has elaborated very well. I just wanted to add something in it. When it comes to security monitoring tool, I would rather say let's divide your security into two parts. The one part is your infrastructure, where all the endpoints, servers, firewalls, and equipment lies, and the other part is human security. So, as Samar says, कि उनके यहाँ जितनी भी breaches होती हैं उसमें technical breaches जो हैं वो तो शायद ना होने के बराबर हैं, 1% भी नहीं है, but mostly जो incident हुए हैं उसमें या तो human error था या password sharing हुई लोगों के दरमियान में और data breach होना शुरू हो गया. So it is very important to create a security culture within your organization. This is very important as far as myself is concerned, because I have seen a lot of incidents happen just because of the absence of security culture within the organization. So once you patch up this part of your system, then the other part is your network infrastructure. अब जब आप network infrastructure पे आते हैं तो you have different kind of tool where you can secure, you can monitor, you can respond, and then you can again secure. So it's a complete cycle. So you install endpoint security like antiviruses in your systems, जहाँ पे आप end user की तरफ से आने वाले कोई malware attack हैं, कोई security attack हैं, उनको आप जो है वो confine करते हो. Then if something happens, वहाँ पे एक alarm generate होता है, एक log generate होता है. Through that log, you monitor it, and then you respond through various kind of other tools, like if you have implemented EDR, if you have implemented XDR on your systems. Similarly, same type of architect you can implement on your DMZ zones as well, on your firewalls, on your other equipment as well. So naming a specific tool may be biased at this stage, because we don't know what kind of audience is right now here. Some people like Symantec, some people like Kaspersky, some people like IBM. So most of the big security companies have their tools, their software available for the security of your network infrastructure. The second point, the recovery cost. In my opinion, you can divide your incident recovery cost into two different categories, two separate categories. One is the direct cost and the other one is indirect cost. When we talk about direct cost, it means you have to hire some engineer for the forensic of incident. So you have to pay extra money. Number two, you may go for the data recovery processes. So maybe you require some external consultant for it. Maybe you require some a robust software solution which actually helps you to get your data back. So maybe you need some system repairs, कुछ आपके ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम डैमेज हो गए हो, ठीक है, उसके लिए आपको कंसल्टेंट चाहिए होंगे. फिर सम टाइम ये होता है कि आप एज ए इंसिडेंट रिस्पॉन्स आप सिस्टम्स बंद कर देते हो, ठीक है, और या सिस्टम आइसोलेट कर देते हो. जो सिस्टम आइसोलेट किया हुआ है उसको आप मॉनिटर कर रहे हो कि उसके ऊपर इन्फेक्शन नहीं आ जाए. जो सिस्टम आपने बंद कर दिए वो डर की वजह से बंद किए हुए, एंड यू नेवर नो कि उन सिस्टम्स को जब आपने पूरा क्लीनिंग प्रोसेस कर लिया, क्लीनिंग प्रोसेस करने के बाद वो सिस्टम ऑन किया तो पता चला अब मलवेयर जो है वो उसके अंदर इंस्टॉल हो गया. तो वी हैव सीन दैट काइंड ऑफ एग्जांपल्स एज वेल इन द मार्केट कि लोगों ने जो है वो जबरदस्त उन्होंने बोला जी ये वाले सिस्टम, ये वाले लैपटॉप जो हैं इनमें तो कोई इन्फेक्शन हमें नजर ही नहीं आया, ठीक है ना, और वो लोग जो हैं वो उनको लेके घरों पे चले गए. टॉप मैनेजमेंट की बात कर रहा हूँ मैं आपको. दे ब्रॉट देयर सिस्टम इनटू होम. दूसरे दिन तीसरे दिन वहां पे ऑफ था, लोगों ने रिकवरी की, पूरी टीम लगी हुई है, सर्वर्स रिकवर हुए, डेटा वापस से लाया गया सिस्टम्स के ऊपर, कनेक्ट किया, उन्होंने आए अपने ऑफिस में लैपटॉप खोला और पता चला वो इन्फेक्टेड था, उसने फिर जाके इन्फेक्ट कर दिया. So these kind of cost I put it into the direct cost column. So the indirect is obviously, as Naushad earlier said, कि reputation damage जो है वो that is the biggest indirect cost जिसका तो कोई नेमुल बदल नहीं है आपके पास. The second thing is कि if you have insurance, cyber insurance, obviously after the incident happens they will increase your premium. So this is also the indirect cost on. तो पाकिस्तान में तो साइबर इंश्योरेंस का भी इतना ज़्यादा रवाज नहीं है. SCCP और SBP के जो नए कंप्लाइंसेस आए हैं, रोल आउट हुए हैं, वहाँ पे साइबर इंश्योरेंस की बात हो रही है. और एज एवरीवन नोज के पाकिस्तान का पर्सनल डेटा प्रोटेक्शन बिल जो है इट्स ऑन टेबल. वन फाइन मॉर्निंग उसकी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन जो है वो कंट्री वाइड हो जाएगी. देन every entity who basically collect the data of any Pakistani national, use it, save it, transmit it, they have to follow the law, the framework, compliance framework, where they have to have cyber insurance as well. So ये कुछ indirect cost आ जाएंगी. जब हम AI के ऊपर बात करते हैं तो when it comes to AI basically enable us to analyze big data very quickly, in my opinion. If you have an organization of 50, 100, 200 people, you might be able to assess your data, incident, logs, maybe with the help of some software in 1 hour, 2 hour, 1 day, 2 day. But AI basically enables you to get those patterns, get those incidents very quickly in minutes or in seconds. So we should leverage with AI tools. The other worst impact can be seen like these AI tools also establish a cyber attack for you as well. So using AI technology would be very tricky, and मैं तो ये कहूँगा कि इसमें जो है बड़ी एहतियात के साथ इसको इस्तेमाल करना चाहिए. और जो रिनोन कंपनीज की तरफ से आपके पास AI टूल्स आ रहे हैं, गो फॉर इट रादर देन टेस्टिंग द अननोन. जिनका कुछ पता नहीं है टूल्स का, उनको आप यूज कीजिए. और ऑब्वियसली फॉर एनी AI टूल विच कैन बी बेनिफिशियल फॉर इंफॉर्मेशन सिक्योरिटी एरिना, साइबर सिक्योरिटी एरिना, requires a lot of data to train their engine. So these are some points which I wanted to add further on the answer of Naushad.
Thank you very much. And you raised that thing. See, earlier today we were talking about AI, the double-edged sword. So good and bad, both things are there. And how do we actually address these things? So governance, where Naushad mentioned, unfortunately, we see where there is lack of governance or weak governance in this regard, technology governance. We see IT and information security are not coming together. How are they going to fight the hackers? We really need to wake up to that and smell the coffee. So moving on, because we've got short time, but you mentioned about Pakistan's Personal Data Protection Act. Unfortunately, that is still at the draft stage. So Samar bhai, can you please share, and then Zainab, what setback Pakistan faces because there is no data privacy regulation in place? And what opportunities have been missed out, in your opinion?
Sir, the most important thing, actually, all of you have actually explained or given the answer in some way or the other of these questions. The main thing is loss of consumer trust. Because if there is no such law, they will not invest in this country, because they know that if something happens, where we will go for complaining? No, we cannot get justice. So in this way, increase in cyber attack will increase, because the organization will not have prioritized the risk of cybersecurity. I mean, this risk is of category A, this risk is of category B and C, because no law is there. So law must be there, and the most important thing also is the damage to the reputation. So this is from my side, sir, because you have given the answer of this question. I mean, consumer trust or damage to reputation. These are two, you can say, bottom lines.
Absolutely, absolutely. Zainab, your thoughts?
So, Hussain, I see it in a perspective coming from a technology background, sitting with a group of financial leaders. It is, I want to add this perspective, and I face this all my career, is to explain the difference between technology governance and data governance, IT security and information security, data security. We have to first understand the difference. A lot of organizations, a lot of professionals feel that the data security is responsibility of technology groups in the organization, which is not the case, which should not be the case. If it is, then it should not be the case. As per the proper governance frameworks that we've seen help us have good practices. So the first point I wanted to raise was this: we should have the differentiation very clear, especially with our business and finance colleagues, audit colleagues, that what is the difference between when we say about technology security, securing the technology, and securing the data. So this is one piece. Coming to opportunities missed. So interestingly, I had a meeting in the afternoon with someone who does data protection consulting in UK, Saudi, UAE. And the most interesting insight I got was that our bids are being rejected because we're not able to add the proper data protection clauses in our bids. So leave alone everything else. If we want to go global, if we want to increase our exports, if we want to increase our technology exports, we're our lack of understanding of this piece is losing us business. So this is something that we have to be very wary of, and we have, like I said, if we keep saying the technology people should be doing it, then we will never get there. We will never get there. It's a business problem. We'll have to solve it with the business, and we have to capture the possibilities and the opportunities that we have out there.
Very true. And, like you shared, we don't need to wait for the government to come up with a regulation so that we do the right things. We know what is the right thing to do. So we can, and there's enough, knowledge and examples around.
So a thought on that, Hussain, the government says don't break the traffic lights. And I leave you with the thought. So the rules will not stop us. We're a nation with our benefits will stop us, and there is a lot of benefit in following these. That's what we should understand.
True. All right. Last question for today, before we move on to the questions from the audience. Globally, ISACA has assessed that by 2025, there will be a shortage of over 3.5 million skilled resources, cybersecurity resources. That's a huge opportunity also. We know PIPFA, ICAP, ICMAP, and others in Pakistan, as well as ISACA and others globally, offer a lot of training options. But Azam bhai, because you are in this area as well, in your opinion, what sort of trainings can help our people? Why is it important for finance and business professionals to learn more about IT controls? This being the last question, I would want something from you, from Naushad then, from Zainab and Samar, because all of you are in training somewhere or the other.
Well, training is basically not my core area, but definitely I am associated with training and teaching for the past 20 plus years. So वो कहते हैं ना कि पढ़ाना, लोगों को नॉलेज डिलीवर करना शायद मुझे एक नशे की तरह से है कि मेरा दिल चाहता है कि मैं जाके लोगों को बताऊं जो मेरे पास नॉलेज मौजूद है. Coming back to your question, if I put your question into frame of Pakistan only, उस हवाले से तो I again emphasize कि if अगर हमारे पास indicators पहले से ये बता रहे हैं कि more than 65% breaches are due to the human error, then we have to work on this 65% before going into the rest of the 35% where I put the professionals. कि जी वो प्रोफेशनल होंगे तो वहां से जो ब्रीचेस हो रही होंगी उनको मैं काउंट कर लूँ. तो अगर आप 65 और 35 को डिवाइड करते हैं तो यू हैव टू हैव अ प्लान ऑफ ट्रेनिंग with the collaboration of or you can say public private partnership में जो है वो कुछ ऐसी collaborations होनी चाहिए. and we are seeing some project as well जिसमें NAFTEC जो है वो इस वक्त गवर्नमेंट ऑफ पाकिस्तान का जो है वो एक प्रोजेक्ट चल रहा है जिसमें गवर्नमेंट फंडेड ट्रेनिंग्स और सर्टिफिकेशंस जो है वो प्रोवाइड की जा रही हैं. तो उसमें मैं यही कहूँगा कि वी हैव टू कैटेगराइज दीज टू एरियाज. और जो फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर के जो लोग हैं उनके लिए मेरे पास जो है ना वो एक बड़ा बेसिक सा पैगाम है कि जैसे द टाइम वाज व्हेन कंप्यूटर बॉर्न, और लोग कहते थे कि यार बल्कि कंप्यूटर से भी पीछे चले जाते हैं, कैलकुलेटर पे आ जाते हैं हम लोग. तो लोग मैथ्स करते थे लिख के और फिर उसके बाद जो है वो कैलकुलेटर आया. आई स्टिल रिमेम्बर के हमें जो है वो इंटर में जाके कहीं शायद उन्होंने कैलकुलेटर यूज करने की इजाजत दी थी, बट अभी तो मैंने देखा है मैट्रिक में और जो डेवलप कंट्रीज है उसमें तो 7वीं 8वीं में भी आपको कैलकुलेटर यूज करने की इजाजत होती है. मुझे याद पड़ता है कि एल्गोरिथम और उसको रखने के लिए हमें जो है वो मैनुअल शीटें दी जाती थी जब हम इंजीनियरिंग में कर रहे होते थे, बड़े बड़े एल्गोरिथम सॉल्व कर रहे होते थे. तो कहने का मतलब ये है कि जैसे बर्थ ऑफ कैलकुलेटर हुआ, बर्थ ऑफ कंप्यूटर हुआ, और कंप्यूटर पे भी जब बर्थ हुआ तो लोगों ने बोला यार कंप्यूटर साइंस में तो काम नहीं करो, इंजीनियरिंग कर लो, अकाउंट्स कर लो, फाइनेंस कर लो. इवेंचुअली टाइम कम जब आपको पता चला कि कोई भी ट्रेड हो बगैर कंप्यूटर के अब करना मुश्किल है, कि आपके लिए मुमकिन ही नहीं है. तो उसी हिसाब से हम ये देखते हैं कि the time has come where if you are taking your business on a digital arena, you have to have a knowledge of basic security. ये बहुत जरूरी हो गया. It is essential for you. So जो आपके पास सर्टिफिकेशन हैं, जो ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम है, उसके अंदर वेरियस सर्टिफिकेशन अंडर द अम्ब्रेला ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन सिक्योरिटी अवेलेबल होंगी. मैंने साइबर सिक्योरिटी की बात की नहीं, मैंने आईटी की बात की नहीं है. एज ज़ैनब मेंशन अर्लियर, इंफॉर्मेशन सिक्योरिटी के अंदर आपको डिफरेंट किस्म के जो है वो सेक्टर मिलेंगे जिसमें आप डेटा प्राइवेसी की ट्रेनिंग एंड सर्टिफिकेशंस मौजूद हैं. इसी तरह से आपके पास डेटा प्रोटेक्शन की मौजूद है. उसके साथ ही आपके पास जो है वो मॉनिटरिंग की आपके पास सर्टिफिकेशन, प्रोडक्ट और ट्रेनिंग्स मौजूद हैं. इसी तरह से आपके पास फॉरेंसिक की सर्टिफिकेशन, ट्रेनिंग्स और टूल्स की ट्रेनिंग्स मौजूद हैं. इसी तरह से आपके पास गवर्नेंस की मौजूद हैं. तो आई थिंक हम जैसे लोग जो कि पुराने बैठे हुए हैं, एज ए मेंटोर वी शुड मेंटोर आवर नेक्स्ट जनरेशन ऑल्सो, कि उनको जो है वो उनके ट्रेड के हवाले से कौन सी सर्टिफिकेशन और कौन सा टेक्नोलॉजी एंड ट्रेनिंग ट्रैक जो है वो सूट करता है, इसको गाइड करने की बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है.
Excellent. And very important, as mentors, we have to guide.
Yeah.
No, क्योंकि ये सारे लोग आ रहे हैं, they're following us. जी नौशाद, your thought.
Okay, so आपका जो second question उसका मैं पहले मैं आंसर दे दूं कि why financial professional need to have these kind of training and awareness in information cyber security. Look, इस वक्त आप देखें ना, एक बच्चा जो पैदा होता है उससे लेकर जो 80 साल के जो लोग हैं वो सब के सब कंप्यूटर यूज कर रहे हैं वन वे और अदर. अब चाहे मोबाइल को भी हम पूरा कंप्यूटर कर लें तो इसका मतलब दे आर इनटू द टेक्नोलॉजी. प्रोफेशनल्स की बात करें तो एनी प्रोफेशनल, चाहे वो मेडिकल हो, चाहे वो आपका इंजीनियरिंग हो, चाहे वो आपका जो फाइनेंस के लोग हों, दे आर यूजिंग कंप्यूटर अलॉट एंड दे कैन नॉट लिव विदाउट अ कंप्यूटर. But it means they need to understand the risk associated with the use of technology. And when business professional and financial professional are at the decision making level, so they need to understand the technology and their associated risk. And obviously with this new AI and other जो the things हैं उनको ये अंडरस्टैंड करना बहुत जरूरी है उनके लिए. सो यस, दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एंड वाइटल फॉर ऑल ऑफ देम. लोग ऑडिट फर्म क्या कर रही है? अब ऑडिट फर्म ऑडिट नहीं करती है, वो टेक्नोलॉजी को ऑडिट करती है. बिकॉज अब जिस चीज़ पे आपने रिलाय करना है, जिस डेटा पर, वो डेटा किस जगह से आ रहा है, वो पेपर पे नहीं आ रहा है. इसका मतलब पहले आपको ये अश्योर करना है कि टेक्नोलॉजी जिससे डेटा आ रहा है या जिससे ये फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट जनरेट हुए वो ठीक है कि नहीं है. इसका मतलब कि फाइनेंशियल प्रोफेशनल को, चाहे वो CFOs हों, CIAs हों, चाहे वो बिजनेस लीडर्स हों या CEOs हों, उनको ये अंडरस्टैंड करना ज़रूरी है. और उसके ऊपर एक लेवल पर हम जाएँ जहाँ पर हम देखते हैं, हम जैसे हम बोर्ड ऑफ कमेटी हम जाते हैं, हम देखते हैं वहाँ पर बोर्ड के जो लोग हैं, जो बोर्ड के जो डायरेक्टर्स हैं, जो जिन्होंने डिसीजन लेना होता है और जिन्होंने डायरेक्शन देनी होती है, उनको कितना अंडरस्टैंडिंग है उस चीज़ को. अब हम जब वाइट आउट करके जाते हैं और वहाँ जाके एक चीज़ पेश करते हैं तो मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम होता है कि उनको वो शायद वो क्योंकि हम ये भी होता है कि हम बहुत से टेक्नोलॉजी के वर्ड यूज़ कर रहे होते हैं तो वो उनको समझ नहीं आ रही होती है. लेकिन हम जब बिजनेस के हवाले से इसकी बात करें तो समझ आती है उनको. इसका मतलब कि उनके लिए अंडरस्टैंडिंग लेना ज़रूरी है. कैसे हेल्प हो सकती है? कैसे एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हेल्प कर सकती है हमें? ICAP है, दूसरे जो इदारे हैं, ICM है, इसाका है, ये कोलैबोरेट करें. और हमने पास में कोलैबोरेट किया है और करवाया है. और एज ए इसाका के प्लेटफॉर्म से हमने यूनिवर्सिटीज़ के साथ कोलैबोरेट किया है, ICAP के साथ किया है और दूसरे इदारों के साथ किया है. तो कोलैबोरेशन इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. और ये करेंगे तो हम स्किल्स भी डेवलप करेंगे. और जो हम कहते हैं अवेयरनेस के साथ साथ जो एक कोर स्किल के लोग आए. अब 3.5 मिलियन अब कहते हैं कि लोग की कमी है जो कि नज़र आ रही है, मुझे लगता है इससे ज़्यादा होगा. तो अभी कैसे फिल होगा? तो ये कोलैबोरेशन में काम करेंगे, साइलोज में काम नहीं करें तो ये बेहतर हो सकती है चीज़ें. और स्किल बेस्ड ट्रेनिंग होगी, फोकस ट्रेनिंग होगी. अभी नेवटेक की बात की नाज़म ने और दूसरे इदारे हैं, सब मिल के काम करेंगे तो चीज़ें आगे बढ़ेंगी बेहतर.
Thank you very much, Naushad. Ji Zainab, we have very little time, so 1 minute.
So yeah, not too much. I think Azam and Naushad have covered most of the things. The only piece that I would want to re-emphasize is the awareness that it is not the technology people who need these trainings only. Like Naushad said, all the data is sitting in systems. So the IT controls, basic training needs to be done for all in the organization now. If we were to ask for a raise of hands, we have about 50 plus participants. If we were to ask for a raise of hands, how many of them use applications, technology tools for their day-to-day business? I don't think we will have any hands that is not raised, right? So we can do a raise of hands and people can tell us, but then again, we have to understand that then these are all the people and beyond that who need to understand IT controls. And then, like Naushad said, it has to come with collaboration. You see, these are pieces where we're putting the puzzle together. So, like we've done technology assurance certificate with ICAP at Strategy Consulting, we have been able to develop the knowledge of IT controls in 150 plus finance professionals. And it has been really appreciated because it was the need of the day. They were feeling a little um, um, not so adequate for in that piece, and that is the piece that they got equipped with, and they can do their own jobs as finance and business professionals better. So yes, we have to create that awareness, and there's no nothing called IT control anymore. Like Very, very technical things are still IT, but the rest is now everybody.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Ji, thank you very much, Zainab. Ji, Samar bhai, to help us round off. You're muted, I believe.
आंसर, हाँ यस सर, आंसर तो मेरे कोलीग्स ने दे दिया है। मैं थोड़ा गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर की बात करूंगा। ये भी आपने लिखा ना भी कौन सी सर्टिफिकेशन होनी चाहिए। मैं हमारे यहाँ ये है, गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर की बात कर रहा हूँ। जिसने जो सर्टिफिकेशन कर ली है उसको उस काम के नजदीक नहीं जाने देना। मिसाल के तौर पे मैंने SAP FI की सर्टिफिकेशन 2009 में की थी और मैं अकेला पास हुआ था। सीमेंस का यहाँ पार्क टावर क्लिफ्टन में था एक, वो वहाँ मैं अकेला ही पास हुआ था, कोई हम 15-20 लोग थे। अच्छा, अब जब वापस आए वहाँ लाहौर तो पता लगा कि ये जो है ना फ्रॉड हुआ ये बोरियां पड़ी हैं, ये सारे रिकॉर्ड की ये। तो मुझे समझ आई कि क्या हुआ है। मतलब मैंने पूछा वो IT वाले से, क्या, उसने कहा जी ऐसे ऐसे फलां चीज। तो मैंने भी अपने अफसरों से कहा जी अगर आप मुझे 3-4 महीने दे दें, 2 लोग दे दें, तो ये मैं सारी फाइनेंशियल इंपैक्ट निकाल दूंगा पिछले 5-6 सालों में, पिछले 5-6 सालों का जो है। तो उन्होंने ये कहा कि इसको दूर कर लो, ये नजदीक ना जाए सिस्टम के। इसी तरह ये दूसरी शाखा की सीसा सीजन जो करता है उसको नजदीक नहीं जाने देते। और जो यानी कि ये डेलिबरेटली है। जो डिसीजन मेकर है ना, जो डिसीजन मेकर है वो तो इस तरह का है ही नहीं। वो हमारे यहाँ आप देख लें जो है वो ना, वो उनके पास कोई सर्टिफिकेशन नहीं है, कोई क्वालिफिकेशन सर वो नहीं है, फॉरेन क्वालिफिकेशन भी नहीं है, और वो डिसीजन मेकर हैं जो कि इनके बारे में फैसला करते हैं। तो मैं ये समझता हूँ सर कि अच्छा फिर ये है कि अगर किसी ने सीसा की सर्टिफिकेशन की है, कोई सीजन की है, उसको कोई इंसेंटिव नहीं है, कोई इंसेंटिव नहीं। पिछले कुछ 12 साल से हम सुन रहे हैं कि ये सीसा का अलाउंस लगेगा, और वो अलाउंस लगेगा 2000, सिर्फ 2000 पाकिस्तानी रुपीस। तो फिर इंसेंटिव नहीं है। अच्छा, एक इंसेंटिव नहीं है, ऊपर से फिर स्किल तो स्किल बेस्ड होनी चाहिए ट्रेनिंग। स्किल सर्टिफिकेशन ना भी हो, स्किल अगर हो तो ठीक है, लेकिन स्किल बेस्ड उसका फिर कोई इंसेंटिव नहीं है। इंसेंटिवाइज करेंगे तो फिर है सरकार में ऐसे है सर, सॉरी।
नहीं, very important point and unfortunate, but that's the reality है, इसी से हमें डील करना है. So thank you very much. We'll wrap up the panel discussion here, and Faria, over to you. I think next you want to take on the question.
Thank you to our panelists for such an enriching discussion. Now it's time for question and answer session, and please write your answers in the chat, and Mr. Hussain Hassan Ali will direct them to our speakers and panelists. Over to you, sir.
So one of the first questions that we received was from Salim Reza Saab. What are the major challenges with data security in Pakistan and how they can be overcome? So over to all of you. Would you like to take it, Azam bhai?
Yeah, sure. The first thing is absence of data security or personal data protection bill. Look, when we talk about the data security bill for any nation or from any framework developer, it basically have four important points. The three is very common: CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and accountability. And the fourth one is right of your data. ये चार चीजें जो हैं बहुत important हैं. When these points are missing from any nation, from any infrastructure, from any ecosystem, the challenge is very big. And the big challenge is no one will trust you. No one will want to work with you. So eventually you lose revenues, finances नहीं आएंगे आपके पास. You cannot connect or collaborate with those kind of companies who are actually following these kind of compliances. तो ये भी एक बहुत बड़ा मेजर इम्पैक्ट जो है वो पाकिस्तान को और पाकिस्तान के जो बिजनेस तबका कह लें या कंपनीज हैं, दे आर फेसिंग ऑन इट. सो इस तरह की बहुत सी चीजें जो हम फेस कर रहे हैं.
Thank you very much. The next question by an anonymous attendee: can we safeguard our data with AI? So Naushad, would you want to take that? I know you're doing something in that regard.
AI is the killer for all of us, right? So AI को sensible use करना. We are using a terminology AI को हम बहुत ही वाइडली यूज कर रहे हैं, ठीक है, और वाइडली यूज कर रहे हैं. सो माई ओपिनियन दैट वी शुड यूज इट वाइजली. तो AI सॉल्व कर सकता है मसला, लेकिन AI मसला क्रिएट भी कर रहा है. लुक, व्हाट इज द बेसिक प्रॉब्लम ऑफ AI इज अगेन द गवर्नेंस. अब AI कैसे इस्तेमाल करना है, कहाँ इस्तेमाल करना है, किस डेटा को देखना है, किस डेटा के ऊपर एनालाइज करना है. तो AI सॉल्व करेगा, मसले का हल करेगा, लेकिन यस, उसको सेंसिबली यूज करना है. अभी सबसे पहला स्ट्रक्चर ही ये हमें समझ नहीं आता. हमें AI अभी सब एक बज़वर्ड है. अब हर जगह बात करें तो यार AI पे कुछ काम करना है, कुछ काम कर रहे हैं हम चाहे ट्रेनिंग की बात करें, टेक्नोलॉजी की बात करें, बिजनेस को ऑटोमेट करने की बात करें, हम कहते AI की हम बात कर रहे हैं. AI है क्या, ये अंडरस्टैंडिंग, इसको सेंसिबली समझना और यूज करना, ये है. और दूसरा है कि अब AI बेस्ड जो टूल्स है, टेक्नोलॉजी आ रहे हैं, वो एक्चुअली वो प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट कर रहे हैं. All of us or most of us are using the chat GPT or any other kind of generative AI. हम एक्चुअली, हमको तो बड़ा अच्छा लग रहा है कि हमें कुछ चीज़ें वहाँ से मिल रही हैं, बट वी आर सप्लाइंग व्हाट टू देम. हम डॉक्यूमेंट अपलोड कर देते हैं वहाँ पर, कहते हैं इसको एनालाइज कर दो, विदाउट इवन थिंकिंग कि यार ये जो डॉक्यूमेंट मैंने अपलोड किया किसी की प्रोप्राइटरी है, इसमें कोई कॉन्फिडेंशियल डेटा पड़ा हुआ है. तो एक्चुअली हम बड़ा हेल्प तो ले रहे होते हैं, लेकिन हम एक्चुअली वो हेल्प कर रहे हैं AI को कि हमारे खिलाफ जाए. तो सेंसिबली यूज करना बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट है, तो ही मसले का हल होगा.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much. Acha, Samar bhai, this question is addressed to you from Wasim Barkat. What steps government has taken to mitigate non-recurrence of data breaches in future?
सर, ये FPR ने वो अपना सिस्टम लगा लिया. अच्छा, वो ISO 27001 थे वो, लेकिन आप देख लें डॉक्यूमेंटेशन पूरी है, फिर भी ब्रीच हुई. लेकिन उसके बाद उन्होंने अपना जो है वो डिपार्टमेंट बनाया, क्योंकि वो बहुत बड़ा सेटअप है, तो डिपार्टमेंट का कोई हेड भी होना चाहिए. वो चीफ इंफॉर्मेशन सिक्योरिटी ऑफिसर उन्होंने लगाया, और वो फिर अब जैसे होता है इस तरह हमारे यहाँ AGPR में, यहाँ CG ऑफिस में, यहाँ भी ऐसे ही है कि अब पूरी टीम है वो ये काम कर रही है अपना. तो अ, अपना ये सीम का सिस्टम लगाया हुआ उन्होंने, और ये यानी EDR ये सारा वो कर रहे हैं हमारा यहाँ CG ऑफिस में. और इनके फिर आपके आपके वो साइट्स भी हैं, 2-3 रखी हुई उन्होंने, सेकेंडरी साइट्स वगैरह. इस तरह FBR में भी है, इस तरह नादरा में भी है. तो ये काम तो हो रहा है, लेकिन बात है सिर्फ वही लोग जो कर रहे हैं, अवेयरनेस लोगों को नहीं है. आम लोगों को अवेयरनेस नहीं है, वो इसलिए लेना भी नहीं चाहते, या तो उनको इंसेंटिव नजर नहीं आ रहा. इंसेंटिवाइज अगर करेंगे तो फिर होगा, वैसे नहीं. यानी बॉटम लाइन आप कहें कि इंसेंटिव नहीं है, और फिर वो ये होता है कि वो अगर कुछ सीख ले भी उसी को पकड़ के रखते हैं, उसको इंसेंटिव भी कोई नहीं. हर जगह उसको रातों को फोन करते हैं, वो कहते हैं यार जान छुड़ाओ. इस तरह ऐसे. थैंक यू.
Thank you very much. Acha, the last question, and there are two that I'll club together. So, importance of data, especially seismic data in oil and gas sector. So, what are the risks and controls that should be implemented? और इसके साथ ही आमिर गुल साहब का क्वेश्चन है, no, for seismic data, do cloud services pose any risks as compared to in-house management? So, Zainab, would you like to take that? And
तो ये क्लाउड का बहस इतना छोटा है नहीं. It's going to be challenging to cover this answer in 1 minute. But what I will summarize to say is that you need controls in both environments, cloud also, and your personal your in-house environment also. Cloud का जो advantage है वो मैं बता देती हूँ. Advantage ये है कि there is a more competent set of people, because it's being given as a service. So there's a more competent set of people. They're taking care of your data and your technology. And the security is not just for you, it is for everyone. So if it is being audited properly, if it is being controlled properly, then it could become a very good way of being agile in your growth. It also depends on the kind of sector that you're in. So cloud is a very broad question. So I'm trying to summarize in a few sentences of how one should go about it. In-house का अपना advantage ये है कि then you have control over your systems. There more control over your systems. Then sometimes you have physical controls over your system. So, but then again the cost goes up. So there's a cost benefit analysis, pros and con analysis that one should do for cloud and your in-house. एक सवाल ये था, and then you combined another question.
Yes, so these two are combined. Is seismic
ठीक
data
है,
के लिए, you know what, specific to seismic data for oil
ठीक
and
है.
gas.
So I think this should give a fair idea to people of how to go about it. Ideally, look at the cloud service providers' own posture towards security. एक cloud service provider का वो आप जब आप जाते हैं वो कहता है कि we do audits every year. This is the audit report. Go read it. Go, and you can come and do your audit. So that's another level of comfort you get, right?
True. Thank you very much. All right, there are a few more questions that have come up very quickly. So since hardware and software technology is changing so rapidly, business and entrepreneurs stay absent and wait for new tools, you know, that would help. What can be a starting point for an average business landscape? This is from Mohammed Kamran, but you know, because technology is changing so fast, what could be a starting point for an average business?
In terms of security. So the implementation of endpoint security would be the basic and first step should be considered by any organization. Endpoint security. Previously, you can say it antivirus. तो ये आपका सबसे पहला स्टेप और सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट और बेसिक स्टेप भी यही होगा.
और इसके साथ if I may just add on, you look at your use of USBs because bringing in malware, taking away data, it helps us facilitate both.
Of course. When you have antivirus, so today's antivirus is a bunch or the bundle of kind of software where you may have access control, write controls, like you can block USBs or you can block other devices as well. You can restrict you can restrict some of the URLs as well in your network. Obviously, it protects from malware, it protects from viruses, plus somehow you can have a zero-day attack technology in recent जो newly आपके पास जो endpoint protection के tools हैं उसके अंदर वो मौजूद होता है. Up to some extent इस तरह के antiviruses, इस तरह के viruses जिनके आपके पास MD5 मौजूद नहीं होते, अपडेटेड नहीं होते, बिहेवियर एनालिसिस की बेस के ऊपर भी उसको वो रोकते हैं. तो सो इन माय ओपिनियन for the starting you should consider endpoint security or antiviruses very fast, which is very important.
Very true. Thank you.
I also want to just add one point over here, Hussain. Endpoint security के बाद अगर आपको प्रायोरिटाइज करना है तो आप वो एरिया प्रायोरिटाइज करें जो आपका सबसे ज्यादा डेटा लॉस का रिस्क है, जिसका रिस्क सबसे हाई है. So you should work on a risk management plan. Not adding security everywhere doesn't help. But endpoint security, and then the next step is find out the area where like when you do audit, you see the most material impact, right? So where the most material impact would be for a cyber attack. That's the next step. Then that's the next step.
Right. I agree. Thank you very much. So Syed Mohammed Asim Hussain has asked why government is not designing effective cybersecurity laws to make punishments, to punish intruders. I think PIPFA has already come in, so maybe someone can talk about Prevention of Electronic Crimes Act and then the cybersecurity policy.
So, Hussain Saab, this is not true that government is not working on it.
Exactly.
They are. They have PIPFA law 2016 implemented all over the country, where they suggest some, I must say, they suggest excessive, not some
measures,
excessive measures or excessive penalties, where you can, penalize the intruders or जिनके system के अंदर से कोई ऐसी मालूमात मिलती हैं कि वो हैकिंग में मुलविस हैं, तो यू कैन पुट देम बिहाइंड द बार एज वेल फॉर 2 to 4 years। और इस तरह के काफी सख्त किस्म के कवानीन जो हैं वो ऑलरेडी मौजूद हैं। स्पेशली यस यू आर करेक्ट, हैरेसमेंट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, तो उसके लॉज भी मौजूद हैं। बट यस, क्योंकि पीका जो है वो कंप्लीटली साइबर सिक्योरिटी और साइबर से रिलेटेड नहीं है, बट उसमें साइबर का एक पार्ट जो है वो बंडल कर दिया गया है। तो लोगों की अंडरस्टैंडिंग, और स्पेशली व्हेन वी पोर्ट्रे आवर सिस्टम टू आउटर वर्ल्ड, उनके लिए ये चीज समझना मुश्किल होता है कि पीका जो है वो साइबर सिक्योरिटी का लॉ है या दूसरी सिक्योरिटी का लॉ है। तो वी हैव टू हैव अ वेरी क्लियर bill law implemented in Pakistan, and government is working on it, and you may see very soon कि आपको डिफरेंट किस्म के लॉज जो हैं वो टेबल होते हुए नजर आएंगे। एआई का ऑलरेडी फ्रेमवर्क आ चुका है, इसी तरह से क्लाउड कंप्यूटिंग है, क्रिप्टोग्राफी है, सॉरी क्रिप्टो करेंसी है, उसका है। फिर आपके पास पर्सनल डेटा प्रोटेक्शन बिल जो है वो आई नो इट्स रेडी। सो कभी भी आप जो है वो आप ये देखेंगे कि ये एक ट्रेल की सूरत में जो है ना पाकिस्तान में आना शुरू हो जाएंगे। और अभी आज की रिसेंट स्टोरी आपने देखी होगी कि गवर्नमेंट ने जो है वो डिजिटल पाकिस्तान का जो है वो लॉ जो है वो टेबल किया है। अनफॉर्चुनेटली वो अभी अप्रूव नहीं हुआ, उसको उन्होंने पेंडिंग में डाल दिया है दोबारा से। काफी नेगोशिएशन भी और काफी डिबेट हुई है नेशनल असेंबली में उसके ऊपर। बट ऑल दीज act actually showing the intention of government. So हमें थोड़ा सा पॉजिटिव होना पड़ेगा, हमें पॉजिटिव रहना चाहिए इस मामले में।
जी
आई होप सो
जी। एंड बिफोर पीका हम 2002 का इलेक्ट्रॉनिक ट्रांजैक्शन ऑर्डिनेंस ही यूज कर रहे थे।
एग्जैक्टली।
सो इट्स मच बेटर, बट देयर इज अ वे टू गो। जी। नेक्स्ट मोहम्मद आसिफ नवीद, ही सेड first want to commend for a wonderful session. Thank you very much, Asif sir. Just within 5 years, when we see arrival of quantum processors, how do you see the threat, considering it would have the speed and capacity to threaten even the crypto chains? So yes, that's a huge challenge coming up, and Asif spoke about it. But anything you want to add? Anybody? क्वांटम कंप्यूटिंग के हवाले से जो थ्रेट।
क्वांटम कंप्यूटिंग पे बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं। और ये जो क्वांटम कंप्यूटिंग का इस वक्त जो प्रॉमिस है वो ये है कि जितनी तेज से ये मतलब इसमें रिसर्च अब हो रही है और जितने तेज से इसके मॉडल और प्रोटोटाइप आना शुरू हो गए हैं, तो इसका कॉन्सेप्ट ये बन गया है कि आप डेटा को अभी इस वक्त जो है ना किसी भी तरह कैप्चर करके रख लो, चाहे वो इनक्रिप्टेड डेटा हो, और वो उसको हम बाद में जो है जब क्वांटम कंप्यूटिंग आ जाएगी उसको हम डिक्रिप्ट कर लेंगे। तो अभी हम ये सोचे कि हमारे इनक्रिप्शन टेक्नोलॉजी बहुत अच्छी है और कोई मसला नहीं है, डेटा की कोई सिक्योरिटी का इतना इशू नहीं है। अभी इसी मॉडल पे काम हो रहा है कि इसको चाहे इनक्रिप्टेड आप सेव कर लो, और क्वांटम कंप्यूटिंग आने के बाद आपके पास ये बड़ा तेज से आप उसको डिक्रिप्ट कर लेंगे। अभी गूगल ने जो एक मॉडल दिया है वो एक बड़ा अच्छा प्रोटोटाइप है, और उस पर बड़ा बिहाइंड द कर्टन बहुत सारा काम हो रहा है। और बहुत जिस तरह हम देखें जनरेटिव एआई ने अचानक जो रंग जमाया है, इट्स बेसिकली हुआ है ओवर लास्ट 15-20 ईयर्स पे रिसर्च हो रही थी, काम हो रहा था, मॉडल बन रहे थे। द सेम इज विद क्वांटम कंप्यूटिंग। तो हम ये सोच रहे बेटा यार ये तो बड़ा दूर है, अभी तो कोई मसला ही नहीं है, वी शुड नॉट लुक थिंक लाइक दैट। बहुत तेजी से इसके जो है ना आप जो है ना वर्किंग मॉडल आना शुरू हो जाएंगे, और फिर उस वक्त हमारे हाथ में कुछ नहीं होगा।
जी, exactly, and we have to change with the time. Thank you very much. Fahim Khan Saab has asked, and this is the last question: are free antiviruses or other related software available on various websites safe to install? ये बहुत ही अहम क्वेश्चन है हर किसी के लिए. And how to know what is safe? Any authentic website?
Sir, nothing is free in this world. Very simple. If you are getting free software, free antivirus, you are actually compromising your own security. So, subscribing to those free software or free antiviruses, you actually joining their bot army.
You are giving something up.
You are giving your computing to them so that they can use it for DOS and DDoS attacks in future.
Mining,
crypto mining and other things. So actually nothing is free in this world. If you are getting free antivirus, then you are giving them in return you are giving them your computer or your computing power.
So go for the authentic licensed version.
Yeah, it's better you pay.
Right. Thank you so much to our panelists for sharing their knowledge. I enjoyed myself, had a great session. Thank you to the participants for all your questions and your participation. And Fariha, over to you, finally.
Thank you to the panelists again. Now it's time for the quiz session. Okay, now what you have to do is log into the slido.com. Then you have to enter your name, your email address to participate. One more thing, each question will be given 30 seconds and top scores will be announced at the end of the quiz. Quiz will be live in a minute. Students, kindly scan the QR code and start your quiz.
We've got to
Paul can join by scanning the QR code and start the quiz. all participants, so the results are here.
Very nice.
Okay. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Usman Ahsan, Vice President of PIPFA and Member Digital Board for closing remarks. Let's hear from Mr. Usman.
Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude today's webinar on behalf of PIPFA, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who contributed to making this event a resounding success. We have been privileged to hear from an outstanding lineup of experts. First of all, Mr. Asif Ahmed from IBM. He illuminated the global imperatives for cybersecurity and data privacy, emphasizing how interconnected our challenges and solutions have become in today's digital age. Mr. Asif underlined that 15 to 20% of the global GDP is digital, and the market capitalization of digital assets exceeds 3.2 trillion US dollars. This makes it important now more than ever before to safeguard our digital ecosystem. Our second esteemed speaker was Mr. Sanjeev Gathani. He provided a detailed roadmap on data privacy regulations and compliance, stressing the critical importance of adhering to evolving legal frameworks to protect not just the organizations, but also the individuals. He also highlighted the categories of personal information and 11 steps that can be used to protect it. His detailed elaboration of 4 broad concepts of collecting, using, disclosing, and storing data were quite elaborate. Mr. Junaid Farooqi. Mr. Junaid Farooqi gave us thought-provoking insights into artificial intelligence as a double-edged sword, reminding us that while AI can be an incredible enabler, it also poses significant risks if left unchecked. Dear colleagues, on a lighter note, Mr. Junaid gave a timeline of, let's say, 15 to 16 years up to 2040, by which we might witness a real-world takeover by artificial intelligence after achieving somewhat super capabilities. Honestly, the potential adverse impacts of AI are so grave, it calls for stringent controls and safeguards. Now, to mention about the panel discussion, which was moderated by Mr. Hussain Hassan Ali, with 2 of his esteemed colleagues from ISACA, Karachi chapter, Ms. Zainab Hamid and Mr. Nushad Siddiqui, as panelists, along with 2 more panelists from Secure Bean LLC, Mr. Muhammad Azam and Mr. Samar Ahmed from PIIAA. This discussion further enriched our understanding through real-world case studies, practical strategies to address cybersecurity challenges, and ideas for shaping the way forward. It was also emphasized in the discussion that we should learn from our lessons of failures and breaches, both in the private and public sector. Preventive and post-breach strategies, including human firewalls and security culture, were also discussed. Current state of data privacy legislation in Pakistan were also taken into stock by the worthy panelists. I must say, it was a really engaging discussion. The interactive question and answer session underscored the depth of interest and concern shared by all the participants about safeguarding data in an increasingly connected world. From these insightful discussions, 4 key takeaways emerge. Number 1, the importance of proactive measures. Cybersecurity is not just a technical requirement, but a strategic imperative. organizations must prioritize early detection, preventive mechanisms, and resilience against cyber threats. Second point was the need for regular audits and assessments. In a rapidly changing threat landscape, consistent evaluation of security protocols and compliance frameworks is essential to staying ahead. Number three, adapting to the evolving data privacy landscape. As regulations worldwide and in Pakistan continue to evolve, organizations must foster a culture of compliance and accountability to protect data and maintain trust. And lastly, collaboration and education. Whether leveraging AI responsibility or addressing global cybersecurity challenges, it's clear that collaboration across sectors and continuous learning are vital for success. On behalf of all of us, I extend my heartfelt thanks to the Pakistan Institute of Public Finance Accountants and the Digital Board, chaired by our very own Ms. Khurshid Kotwal, for organizing this webinar and curating such a rich and diverse program. My gratitude also goes to the President of PIPFA for his inspiring address and to our distinguished speakers and panelists for sharing their expertise and wisdom. I would like to appreciate and thank the hard work of our PIPFA team, especially Mr. Hasib. To all the panel participants from PIPFA, ICAP, ICMAP, AGP, and other esteemed organizations, your engagement, thoughtful questions, and active contribution have made today's event truly impactful. Your presence here is a testament to the collective commitment to addressing these critical challenges. As we leave today, let us take these insights and convert them into actionable steps within our organizations and communities. Cybersecurity and data privacy are not static goals, but continuous journey. And together we can make our digital world safer and more secure for everyone. Thank you very much. And over to you, Ms. Priyam.
Usman for the closing remarks. We congratulate the winners of quiz, and the e-certificates will be dispatched via email to your email address. Thank you to all of you to joining for your precious time. We look forward to your valuable feedback on our Facebook page and email address provided in webinar email. Thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.